Welcome to the Weekend Live Show.
508 is where I'm from.
We run down the biggest stories of the week with you every Saturday night. Let us know in the comments right now where you reppin'.
Apache Junction, Taunton, Worcester, Long Island, Manchard, South Florida, Webster, Malden, Framingham, Tucson, Billerica, Salem, Gloucester, Moosop, Connecticut, Charleston, South Carolina, Roslindale, Moosop, Connecticut, London, Hanson, Glendale, Arizona, Lynn, Mapleville, Quincy.
Food stamps, leave your clothes, buddy, and
hey, you a funny ass guy, man.
Have you ever heard of Turtle Boy? Yeah? Are you a fan?
508 is where I'm from.
Hey, what's up?
508 is where I'm from.
How was that?
You a freaking idiot. Stop telling people that I'm mentally deranged and stupid.
Call me Aiden. I'm really a doctor, but...
Get out of my store, please.
You're a fucking loser.
You are a loser.
You're not a journalist. You're nobody.
You're not turtle hair. Don't make such fun of the criminal justice system.
NFL on the house, log out.
Let's get this party started.
It's go time. Tick, tick, boom. Bringing noise. Go, baby, we bringing our toys. Separating from the boys. Choppable fingers should be on the voice. Bang, bang, we gon' ride out. Gang, gang, we don't die out. Want it like this, ain't no timeouts. Tell me who really gon' find out.
We be disturbing the peace. Working, we serving the streets. About to go ahead, going beast. Bang, bang, leave you sleep.
Tick, tick, boom.
Hard body, and not scaring nobody. You make me resort to wildin'. You must be blind by the diamonds. I didn't want it to be this way, but y'all won't need to try this. So it's no way around it. You the loudest one, it's going quiet. We be disturbing the peace. Working, we serving the streets. About to go ahead, going beast. Bang, bang, leave you sleep.
It's go time. Tick, tick, boom. You can't stop me.
All right. What's up, Turtle Riders? How's everyone doing out there? Welcome to a special episode of Turtle Boy Live. I know what I said I was taking a little break from doing these these real live shows. Like I've been doing some pre-recorded ones and then playing them live, but it's not technically live. But I wanted to have a special show tonight because there was a special town meeting in Canton on Monday that I would like to raise awareness about because I think it's important to be civically engaged, and I think a lot is on the line there. And I think that we just got to rally the troops and get people fired up to go to this thing and participate in democracy. I think it's a beautiful thing. So special town meeting, special stream. I don't know if I'll keep doing this. I kind of like the pre-recorded ones. I just don't like doing it in the morning. So I might start playing them at the time that we usually had them prior to this. But we'll see. But anyway, folks, welcome back, I guess, if you will. My name is Aiden Carney. You can call me Clarence. A lot of people call me Unc back in the day, Uncle Turtle Boy. I prefer doctor because if Jill Biden's a doctor, then I'm definitely a doctor. Or you can call me Daddy. Some people have been calling me Daddy. I didn't ask to be called Daddy. It just kind of stuck. So, we're just going with it. It works. So yeah, you can call me any of those things. Just be here whenever we have a live show. That's all we ask. So if you'd like to donate to the program or the legal defense fund, whatever you want. Obviously, as you guys know, I'm in a little bit of a legal situation right here that we plan to defeat, and that costs money, unfortunately. So I didn't ask for these charges, but here we are. And I plan on defending him rigorously because I'm factually innocent. I've done nothing wrong, and I look forward to my day in court. But those come with legal bills. So if you guys would like to donate to the program, The link to the turtle chat is on top. We don't have the super chat function because we got demonetized about 2 years ago because I had the wrong opinion about a certain president's vaccine mandate. Wasn't a fan of it, so I wasn't allowed to accept money from you anymore, which is okay because those crooks at Google take 30% anyway, so no biggie. Or you can, but with the turtle chat, you click at the link at the top, you donate whatever amount of money you want, and you get to write a message. I'll get the email in my inbox. I'll read it out loud to the class when your message comes in. Or you can cash at me at $ Uncle Turtle Boy. We do have a couple guests tonight that we're going to bring on. So let me just bang through a couple old turtle chats from earlier in the week. Let me just start off reading a couple of these, and I'll read some later. Chris sends $10, says, I'm in total disbelief about the court cherry picking your testimony and just blindly believing the prosecution. I really thought the First Amendment would save you. Silly me. Keep fighting, Turtle Boy. Don't settle. Fight these bad guys all the way. Yeah, it is kind of interesting how the entire case seems to be based on out of context quotes. I mean, I'm relieved when I saw that because ultimately in an actual trial, all of this will be brought to light. Clearly, the judge did not actually listen to any of the tapes. Had he done that, he would have seen that, oh, obviously this is not how it's presented to be. And so I look forward to that. Actually, a guy named Merb, who probably most of you guys have no idea who this guy is. I've streamed with him before. He's an attorney in California, and he did a stream today talking about it. And you got to see it. He has a complete meltdown and rage quits at the end. It's pretty funny. But I asked him, I said, he's like, oh, this is intimidation. He's like, read the, what do you mean they're out of context? I go, Merb, have you heard can you show me the video where I urged people to call the pizza shop? And he spends like 10 minutes looking for it. Oops, can't find it. Oh yeah, it doesn't exist. Well, what about the other stuff? Gee whiz, Merb, you're an attorney, right? Well, maybe you should ask yourself, this is just me thinking out loud. If they lied about that, if they're willing to put something in the charging documents that literally does not exist, what else are they lying about? Perhaps they're deceiving you. Have you listened to any of the actual clips? No, but they're written right here. Yeah, you might want to listen to them because it's going to radically blow your mind when it does. So, of course, that's why he's on YouTube. He's the probate attorney. He does like freaking, DCF done stole my kids cases. So take him with a grain of salt for what he is. But anyway, so thank you for the Dono chat there. Appreciate that. Probot sends $20 and says, for freedom in the First Amendment, don't let them silence you. You did nothing wrong. Hashtag for truth and justice. Well, thank you very much, Probot. And I'm still here, still talking. So you're right. I'm not going to be silenced because I did nothing wrong. And my job is to talk. $25 from L says, Jen Altman is rude, but not really. I met her last night, actually, for the first time. She was actually very pleasant. So, and I did ask her, like, I was a little honest with her. I'm like, how do you have the energy to wake up every day and go on Facebook and just get in fights with people all day? Like that would exhaust the fuck out of me. She's like, oh, because I'm always right. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess that makes it easier. But, she's fine. A lot of people aren't fans, and that's your right. You don't have to be fans of everybody. I don't mind her. I've never minded her from the beginning. So I actually like her. So there's that, even though I don't agree with her on a lot of shit. But all right. Thank you very much. L is also says, Aiden, thinking of you and praying God gives you strength and wisdom to continue seeking justice. Well, thank you very much, L. I appreciate that. Nancy sends $25 and says, Turtle Strong, you're an amazing award-winning journalist. Keep up the great work. Well, thank you very much, Nancy. I appreciate that greatly as well. Pina sends $5 and says, there is no more single important struggle for an American democracy than ensuring a diverse, independent, and free media. Shock and awe with Woody Harrelson. Check it out. I will do that. It's a good quote. Thank you, Pina. Erica sends 25 and says, I'm sorry I was late to Turtle Club, but I was so happy to see that handsome face and hear your voice live. Proud to know and follow you. Oh, she sent this the other day. So thank you very much, Erica. I read that on Turtle Club. Appreciate that. Janet sends $15, says, I was watching one of your old streams the other day and realized that Colin sounds like the Athol pot shop guy because he always says, pull up, bang, bang. He does say that. Yeah, remember, go read that blog. Or not blog, article that I wrote recently. The article. Thank you very much, Janet. Chris sends $100. Thank you, Chris. Says, longtime reader of this award-winning journalist and greatly appreciate all you've done to raise awareness to this obvious injustice. Hey, Is the blue plate still open and holding? Of course it is. Of course it is. Free Karen Reed. Quinn's is great. We always go to Quinn's. Free Karen Reed. Free Turtle Boy. Justice for John O'Keefe. I appreciate that. Oh, and shout out. I went to my kid's soccer game today in Northborough. She does indoor soccer. And we're playing this team from Grafton who just waxed us. It wasn't fair. Indoor soccer is a different beast because the type of kids that do indoor soccer, they're like better. Like they do soccer all year round. Like they're really skilled. And so, we get killed every week, and that's fine. It's a learning experience. But I went upstairs to watch it, get a better angle of it up there. And immediately a woman I'm happen to be standing next to, she's a mother of a Grafton player. And she's like, Turtle Boy. And then we just start striking up the conversation about my legal troubles. And I really appreciate hearing support like that. She let me know that we got your back and all this stuff. And then we went and tried going to the Wonder Bar in Worcester for pizza afterwards. Walk in there. There's some type of Watertown field hockey game or something in Worcester somehow. And they were all at the Wonder Bar at 3:00. I'm like, well, no one's going to be there at 3. It's packed. We couldn't get a seat. And immediately we walk in. People are like, Turtle Boy. And it's like, hi, guys. Hi. It's really cool. It's going out in public now. Like everybody, since I got arrested, everybody knows about this. And everybody's got every decent human being out there not only has my back, but has Karen Reed's back as well. So there's that. I appreciate that. Thank you, Chris. Glamma sends $23 and says, love to all who came out last night. Let's plan some local regional parties. Yeah, I really want to have more events like that. We could be doing that a lot more. That was really fun. I had a good time. I could do that every weekend. Paul sends $25, says, Rita rules. Vote no. We're going to have Rita on in a little bit. Absolutely. Thank you. Amanda sends $10, says, Aiden, thank you for all you do and continue to do. I know you have a lot to worry about. Just know that you are strong and will push through and justice will be served. And John is looking down, smiling for all you've done for him and for Karen. Well, thank you very much, Amanda. That's very kind. I'd like to think, I know John O'Keefe I believe in an afterlife, and I believe that John O'Keefe is in heaven. And I believe that he obviously knows that he was beaten to death inside the house behind me and left outside to die like trash. And I can't help but thinking that, of course he would appreciate the people who are actually fighting to bring his killers to justice and to exonerate his girlfriend. Like, that's his girlfriend. People forget that. Not his ex-girlfriend. That was his girlfriend. They were in love. Yeah, they fought once in a while. That's what people do sometimes, believe it or not. People get in fights. But they were together for 2 years. They clearly were very close. She acted as a de facto stepmother for his children and certainly provided more love to his kids than any of these other criminals who now pretend to care about him, and these other fake people who pretend to give a shit about him. Just know, because I know they're watching right now. I know that Paul, Carl Dougal and his idiot brother are watching this right now. I just want to let him know that John is looking down at you from heaven, and he's ashamed of you. He's embarrassed of you. He's looking at you, Carl, with disgust. And he's like, I can't believe I was alive for 46 years. And that guy was one of my friends. How embarrassing. How humiliating. He's praying for you. I have no doubt he's praying for you to see light. Obviously, you're incapable of it, Carl, because your heart is filled with hatred. And I hope you go to church or something and confess your sins. But hopefully the priest doesn't tell you to tell the truth and repent, because that's witness intimidation. We don't need any of that. All right. So thank you very much, Amanda. DE sends $50 and says, nice to see you tonight, Unc. People of Canton, take back your town. Trollhollomio, this one is for you. Shout out to Trollhollomio. 50 more bucks in the name of Trollhollomio, dog. I'm making a lot of money off of that person. By the way, Trollhollomio, just in case it's not blatantly obvious, is Christina Yakimovsky. In case it's fucking not blatantly obvious who Trollhollomio is, it's Chrissy. So it's been Chrissy the whole time, and there's that. Okay, next up. John B sends $10 and says, everybody seems to call you Aiden recently. Kind of strange to hear people call you by your first name instead of Turtle Boy or Unc. What are your feelings? I have not heard that. I mean, that is my name. That is my name. That's what I've been called my whole life. So thank you. Crystal sends $20 and says, thanks for coming last night. Oh yeah. Crystal was great. Crystal was one of the bartenders who hosted the event and kind of put it all together. And she says, it was a real honor meeting you after years of being a turtle rider. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for what you do, Crystal. It was a really fun event last night in Acton. I had a blast. Thank you. Caitlin sends $10, says, love what you do. Keep fighting the good fight. I'd love to make it a rally protest someday. You're inspiring. Check Salem, New Hampshire PD when you're done. Okay, Caitlin, I appreciate that very much. Kelly sends $10, says, keep fighting the good fight. You are amazing. Hope you have a great Thanksgiving with your family. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'll be making, I hate Thanksgiving, actually. I like football. I just hate Thanksgiving. I hate the food. So I'm just making buffalo chicken dip to the dome. No one else gets to have it. I guess they can have a bite, but to me, that's a meal. Buffalo chicken dip is a meal. It counts as a meal. It's got everything in it. It's got like, 3 food groups at least. So, I mean, that counts as a meal. That works. And Thanksgiving's fucking nasty, dude. You know why we eat Thanksgiving food? Because that's all that was around for the Pilgrims in 1620, because they didn't have a market basket. What were they going to do? They're like, oh, well, we're hungry. Well, kill that fucking turkey over there. All right, what are we going to do for vegetables? Well, we're in the South Coast, right? Make some fucking cranberries. That's what we do down here. Oh, really? Okay, it's cranberries. They're kind of nasty. We'll just smash them together. We'll call it sauce. We'll call it cranberry sauce. And then, okay, what about like carbohydrates? I don't know, just take a bunch of shit and we'll just call it stuffing. We'll stuff it together. It'll be stuffing. What about, can we get anything else? Any other vegetable? You got any potatoes? Just smash them up. We'll just call it mashed potatoes. That's how they came up with Thanksgiving, because the Pilgrims didn't have shit. And so they just took what was lying around, and we still eat it to this day. It's insane. Food has evolved over time. So should Thanksgiving. Like, we should have the best food. Thanksgiving should be the best meal of the year. And it's the worst meal of the year. And that's just a fact. And you people out there who pretend that you like Thanksgiving and all that shit are the same people who drink your pumpkin spice and your bullshit. That sucks too, by the way. Pumpkin spice is fucking awful. The smell of it makes me want to puke. Nobody actually likes that shit. You're a bunch of savages. Anyway, I'm going on a rant here. I got to stop. All right, next. Kevin sends $25 and says, are you going to be able to come to Canton Monday night? You can probably watch the meeting from the gym. It's just not worth it. You know what I mean? The last thing I need is one of these McAlbert fucks to come up to me and take a picture next to me. Oh, he was within 100 feet. I'm not doing that, But so that's why I'm doing this tonight, to rally support for that. Anyway, do we have any more before we get this started? 2 more, and then we're going to get started. Glamis sends $17, says your app keeps changing my Dono. Bruins are up 5-1. Thank you very much, Glam. I appreciate that. Cole sends $5, says, I like your show, Turtle Boy. What's your favorite color? I don't know. It changes a lot. If you ask my kids, they like teal. So, but I guess green. I'm a Turtle Boy. You got to like green. But all right, cool. All right, so let's get, and I'm going to read the Cash Apps. Remember, I'm Cash at $ Uncle Turtle Boy. I'm going to read it after my first interview, because I'm going to bring a woman on in a minute. I just need to get to the background of this first. So let's talk about this. So as you guys know, there was an incident in Canton on July 22nd that was lovely and peaceful, and everyone had a great time. It was like I remember leaving the Canton Rolling Rally and being like, this was a wonderful thing. This is a wonderful show of unity. You have all these people coming together. I'm talking people of all ages, shape, sizes, colors, you name it. And all of them just wanted justice for John O'Keefe and justice for Karen Reed. And they're all strangers to them. And I thought that was a beautiful thing. And nothing bad happened on our end. We went to the homes of the people who are quite clearly lying, or there's strong evidence that these individuals either were involved in killing John O'Keefe or were involved in covering up his murder after the fact. And so we just wanted to peacefully protest and share our thoughts about their behavior on a public street, which is perfectly accessible. A bunch of protesters shut down a bridge connecting 2 of the biggest cities in Massachusetts a couple of days ago in honor of Palestine. And that's okay. That's okay. We just stood on a couple streets that nobody goes on. And for about 7 minutes each, we peacefully protested outside of those and explained the roles that those individuals that lived in those places, the roles that they played in this cover up. And man, it was just so positive everywhere we went. Neighbors of everyone, like on Highland Street. Remember the Nagel neighbors at 76? They came out and gave us a thumbs up. Everyone was loving it. Like everywhere I went in that town, it was just so much positivity. It was like the best day. And then at the end, we later found out 3 months after the fact that actually that was a felony. The whole thing was a felony, except there's 300 people there, and the only one charged with the felony is the guy with the YouTube channel. No one else, just me. Not that anyone else should be. That was really, that's so cool. That's so cool. That was the real, okay, interesting. My favorite color is green. So Cole's apparently someone's son, and they said that, oh, that's so nice. I like when I find out that kids are into this too. That's great news. I mean, it makes me also remember that I should watch my mouth because I should set a good example. I shouldn't be saying bad words. Don't say bad words, kids. Say good words only. When I say those, I go to confession when I say the bad words. You shouldn't do that. But it is good to hear that because this is something that everybody should like and everyone should enjoy. And because learning about our world and the important things in it are important for all of us. So anyway, so that was a really good day. I thought it was really positive, and we later found out that was a felony. Oops. But not really. A felony, but not really. Let's be honest. At the end, we were outside the Canton Police Department, and I was doing an interview with Canton TV when somebody threw an egg from a BMW, and it hit or came very close to hitting a child. I didn't put the kid's picture in there, but I did meet the kid afterwards. He was visibly shooken up, seemed upset, and he was 5 years old. And his mother was there from Milford. Her name's Jennifer. We're going to bring her on in a minute. And Jennifer was obviously very upset about this. And she went down to the Canton Police Department to file a report because we found out who it was. And how do we find out who it was? Oh, wait, that could be a conspiracy to commit a felony. I don't want to say how we found out. But we saw the car driving by. And, there's certain things on a car that make it rather identifiable. And, certain people can look shit up and then they can find that information out about who the car belongs to. But I don't want to, there might be a conspiracy to commit witness intimidation if you, find out who threw an egg at a child, apparently. Because the cops aren't going to do it. So God forbid you do it. And then you find out who did it. And then you're the bad guy, of course. So anyway, we found out that it's some cheese hog by the name of Diana White in all her splendor. Where'd she go? Oh, God. There. Oh, geez Louise. Look at that thing. Look, good Lord. Does that not say it all? Is that not a Canton 5.5 if I've ever seen one? Look at that thing. Oh, God. Oh, my God. There she is. She sat next to sad Julie Albert and Bernie Albert and the other cheese hog, Michelle, at this Board of Selectmen meeting, kind of giving Angela Chan O'Donnell the side eye. And yeah, anyway, so Jennifer has been pushing for charges to be filed and has been kind of getting a runaround from the police department. She'll tell us in a moment what happened, but basically I'd almost forgotten about the egg incident. And then I read Helena Rafferty's interview in the Canton Citizen recently. She did an interview in the Canton Citizen, and it says here that, where'd it go? Yeah. The investigation into harassing and disturbing and unnerving correspondences and hate-filled actions directed at numerous residents in our community in recent months are ongoing in many levels. Like, what does that mean? We recently brought charges against the person responsible for throwing an egg at protesters in July. The case went to court and the victims neglected to show, so the case was dismissed. And that shocked me. So I contacted Jennifer, and she was never alerted about this. I would like to point out how this process works is the police file a criminal complaint in Stoughton District Court. And they then it goes in front of a magistrate. Now, this is not my first rodeo with this stuff. I know how this works. I've been a victim of a crime before. The victim does not have to go to the magistrate's hearing. That is complete bullshit. The police are the ones presenting the criminal complaint. The defendant, the accused, has the option of bringing an attorney with them, but the victim does not have to go. They can go, but it's not like they're going to testify or anything in a magistrate's hearing. It's just, here are the statement, and the magistrate decides if there's probable cause to indict, which there almost always is. It's really easy to indict. The bar for probable cause is not very high. Oh, there she blows. There she blows. Oh, yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Okay. Anyway, so we're going to bring on Jennifer now. We're going to talk about how, who's lying here. Helena Rafferty says that there was a hearing, and she just didn't show up. So we're going to bring on Jennifer now.
Hi.
All right. Hello, Jennifer. How you doing?
Hi, Aiden. I'm well. Thanks. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Had a little trouble there, but I'm doing well. And thank you very much for allowing me to talk about this complaint, this case.
Yes. So tell me, there was a new update today. What happened?
Okay. Well, it started on Friday when I got the alert that Chief Rafferty had given an interview where she said that technically my son is the victim. So a 5-year-old failed to show up, because he drives himself and, can read and everything at the tender age of 5.5. So I got the notice that my son failed, that word stings, to show up in court for the magistrate hearing. And then I immediately called a few different offices. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. They weren't really saying that you didn't show up. They're saying your son, the victim, didn't show up. How dare he, that 5-year-old, not show up?
I mean, he just got his license last week. Give the kid a break.
Yeah.
So, it's hard not to take it personally and get upset. I have to compartmentalize. So from there, I had a situation about 11 years ago where I went through this when I lived in Southie and somebody tried to run me over in their car. So I have been through this entire process. And it was also equally corrupt, involving the son of a cop and, different levels of covering up, but that's for another day. So I went through this process and went through it with people, kind of shifting and, trying to obfuscate information and things like that. So I knew how it goes, and I kind of knew the flags to look out for because I had been through it. And I knew that, sometimes it could take weeks or months to get to the magistrate hearing, but I went to that, when I went through it and I testified, we went. I'm sorry.
So in this case, were you ever notified about a magistrate's hearing?
No, not this time. And I did call and try to get updates, as did some of the other witnesses to this. And we were told that we spoke to Officer Lehan, and he said that he didn't have any updates. And that seemed a little bit like congruent with what I went through, back in the day. So I just thought, okay, this is going to take months. And when I went through it before, like the witness, what is their name? The witness advocate, reached out to me and walked me through the entire
witness advocate.
Yes. Someone from the South Boston court, walked me through the entire thing. She was like my liaison through the whole entire thing. And I got letters, I got phone calls. If they, couldn't get in touch with me, they would call back. There were a lot of updates. So I knew how it should go properly. So for this, I made the complaint in July. I spoke with Officer Lehan a few times. The other witnesses spoke with Officer Lehan. And even some of the witnesses who were very gracious called and asked for updates, into the fall. And one of the witnesses I spoke with today, she told me that she called 2 days before. So she called on September 16th and spoke with Officer Lehan. And he said, yeah, I don't know. I don't have any updates. And she tried to do that for me because at the time I was sick. So she was helping me advocate and things like that. And she was told by Officer Lehan that they didn't have any information.
So you found out today that the hearing did take place.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Because you called, and it was on September 18th.
That's right. So
Stoughton or Dedham?
After I made a few phone calls on Friday where Dedham Court, Stoughton Court, and no answer at the DA's office, they were all telling me to call the other one and telling me the police should be updating me. It was like everybody was telling me to call the other agency or office. I got a voicemail this morning I saw from Officer Charlie Ray from the Canton, or Lieutenant Charlie Ray from the Canton Police Department. He called me last night, but we were having a family dinner, so I didn't want to pick up. Because speaking of kids, my 9-year-old is a big Karen Reed advocate, and I didn't want her. Good. I didn't want her to, you hear one side of a phone call, and I didn't want her to be alarmed because her antennas go up. So I didn't pick up. We're having a family dinner, and then I listened to the voicemail that he left me, and he said that he was calling about the September 18th. I don't think he used the word case. He said the egg that was lobbed out of the car. He didn't even say, like I used the word assault when I filed the complaint, and they used the word lob.
Who was the officer that called? Ray?
It was Charlie Ray, Lieutenant Charlie Ray.
So just to be clear here, the officer that initially investigated you was Lehan, the same guy who was harassing Canton citizens about whether or not they actually signed the special town meeting, whatever.
Yes, that's
another
correct.
legacy Canton cop. And he told witnesses or other witnesses who witnessed the egg throwing incident on September, as late as September 16th, that he didn't know anything.
That's
but
right.
In reality, by September 16th, a hearing was already scheduled.
That's right.
For September 18th in Stoughton.
That's right.
That
actually not a big deal, but I believe it was the Dedham Juvenile Court.
Okay, because Diana, to be clear here, to show you what kind of person Diana is hiding behind her daughter and blaming this on her daughter, correct?
That is right, because the way the laws are in Massachusetts with minors and how it impacts them, how they move through the juvenile court system and their permanent record and things like that, to put it sort of in not a great way. Like it's better to put it on a kid than to put it on an adult because they won't, when they turn 18 and things, it won't follow them. And right now it's confidential. Like neither Dedham nor Stoughton could give me information because they were
it will not go so for the mother to put it on her child, which maybe the child did do it. The child obviously didn't do it on her own. Why do you have eggs in the car when you're going, this protest is going on and you have eggs on you? Come on. And they throw an egg out of the thing. And even if the kid was the one who did it, which I highly doubt, for her to my kid does that, I'm taking the blame. I'm sorry. I'm taking or whatever. Like I'm sorry. Like I'm not gonna blame. I don't believe it happens. I don't believe it happens. I just don't believe it. Okay. To throw your own kid under the bus like that, not even Chris Albert is capable of that. Like, you know what I mean? Like not even Chris Albert's capable of that. He'll just blame someone else entirely, like Karen Reed.
Right.
But a non-family member. But she basically. Now, actually, you know what? I would make my kid. I would make more think about it. I would make my kid own up to it, but I don't.
Right, because we have seen what kids turn out to be when their parents take the fall and cover for them. We all know that. We don't have to get into it, but we have seen that in this case. Like that, they are the embodiment of what happens when you cover for your kid.
Exactly. That is the problem in this town. Is that these McAlbert type people, and when we say McAlberts, we don't just mean the McCabe's and the Alberts. We mean they're friends. They're associates like who cover for them and clearly go along with them. There's like 40 of them. That's it. And anyway, so that she pins it on the kid. And the kid won't follow the kid around forever. This shit gets sealed.
That's right.
The kid's obviously not, no one's going to jail over an egg anyway. But tell me about, what was your son seemed shooken up from this? What was his experience like from this?
So
egg thrown at him.
Yeah. So I looked down and he was starting to kind of like whine, cry, and he was like moving his foot around and he was like, "Mommy," and he was getting upset because the egg landed and it splattered onto his Crocs. And he I think he was confused, like, what is happening? Why is this egg coming at me? I didn't do anything. My shoe's dirty. Who knows? You know how kids, they have that, like, they're not as developed as adults. So kids equate things strangely. So who knows? He could have been like, now I'm going to get in trouble and I didn't even do that. My mom's going to yell at me for getting my Crocs dirty. You know what I mean? Kids associate things in like an immature, underdeveloped way because they don't have life experience. So the thing that's hard for me is my son's like a very quiet guy. You know, we all tried to talk to him and he just shut down. He didn't want to talk about it. He was upset. And it was upsetting for me because I couldn't, you know, like talk to him and get it out of him because there were people around and he was nervous. And I don't want him, you know, my daughter's older. She's 4.5 years older than him. Like we've been going to protests and demonstrations like Boston Common here, there, everywhere, putting, you know, going to, you know, local events to, you know, hold up signs for elected officials. Like that's something my children have grown up with. So I don't want him to internalize, you go and exercise your democratic rights and freedoms and you are chastised and assaulted and, you know, people get you dirty with raw eggs, you know what I mean? Like, and so that was upsetting for me as a parent. Like he's associating this beautiful day with other kids there. Like you said, every age group, senior citizens, you know, that he associated with that. Like I got in trouble, I got an egg thrown at me and now we have to go home. And, you know, I didn't bring a change of clothes. So, you know, that was upsetting for him. And like, he should have been able to have fun. Like we were going over to find you to take a picture.
It was a fun day. Like, but all, you know, it was a beautiful day. Like you were there. I mean, for the whole thing.
Yes.
When we went to any of those homes, did it seem like we were threatening at all? Or we were like,
not at all. I felt that we fluctuated between sort of like pride in the movement. And that was like the first time we kind of got together, you know, as a group. And then it was the courthouses and the fundraisers. But you know, it just felt great to meet all these people, all these turtle riders, all these supporters. I met so many people from Canton. And I think everybody was really proud. Like, look what we're doing. Like, we're so angry and we want to do stuff in our community. And we feel like, how can we help Karen and her family and her lawyers? It was awesome. But then I feel like it also fluctuated. It was at times I felt very somber, especially when we went by 34. Sorry, I'm going to cry. When we went by 34 Fairview, like that, you know, to me, it almost felt like that was partly like a funeral procession, like to be across the street from where John lost his life. And it was somber, you know? And I thought it was a beautiful day. And like, you know, you said, and I've said to other people who asked about it, like there were infants there were kids in bucket seats, there were toddlers like Willie, my son. And, you know, I'm going to kind of go off on a little tangent, but one thing that really bothered me about what Diana did and the driving and the distraction and yelling, you know, F you, that was a busy intersection. That was as people were dispersing. So for me, what angered me, and I did say this to Officer Lehan, like part of it is my child being assaulted by an egg and how that impacted him. And it could have been any of us, but also to drive through an intersection like that. There were so many elderly. I saw so many people escorting senior citizens back across the street to their cars and everything. Like to me, what happened to my son was like 50% of it. And the other 50% of it was like the distracted, dangerous, like aggressive driving. Like you saw, there were so many cars coming by to cheer for us as much as we were, you know, cheering for the cause. And it was just really dangerous and upsetting because someone could have got hit by a car, you know, when she's looking at her daughter and throwing an egg, you know, that was upsetting is what I'm trying to say. Sorry.
No. And I'm glad you just said what you had because it kind of painted a picture of what it was like there that day and just how, because I mean, I'd be so upset if that happened to my own kid. I'd be, especially when you see, it just shows how nasty these people are. And we know that they're trash or whatever, but I think the bigger problem here, the institutional problem is that that doesn't bother the police. Like it's okay. There is a protected class in Canton right now that is being protected by the police department in the institutions.
That's right.
And if you are associated with the McAlberts, you can do no wrong in Canton. You are a special class of citizen, and you are allowed to throw eggs at 5-year-olds. Right. And so just to get back to this, you were never alerted to the hearing on September 18th. And then, which shouldn't matter anyway, even if you don't go, they can still press. You do not have to be at a magistrate's hearing. And this did definitely go in front of a magistrate. And are you go? I mean, they can still bring it in front of a magistrate. I don't like this is not expired. Are you going to push for that?
Right. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because when I spoke to Officer Lehan in the summer, we had a series of phone calls where he was coordinating the investigation. When he called me back, when he said his investigation was complete and he was doing his final write-up, he asked me how I wanted to handle it. And this was similar to what happened to me, 10 years ago. He said, would you like an apology letter? Would you like to just sit down at the police station and just like talk it out? Or would you prefer to go to the magistrate? And I said, I prefer to go to the magistrate because from what I see, what I hear, what I read, it doesn't sound like in your town an apology letter is going to be sincere and change behavior. It doesn't seem like a sit down at Canton Police Department with all
they actually said that to you. Like,
yes.
They actually said that they want to write a letter of apology. Will you accept that? I wonder if they do that for a lot of crimes, like, or if that's just a McAlbert special. When somebody commits a crime, like, just write a letter of apology. Just and that. Is there anything? Does anyone else get that kind of treatment?
And part of me too, I'm one of those people, like, there's like, everybody has those buttons that get pressed on them. Like, to me, an insincere apology, that is just absolute zero to me. And I don't think it would mean much. I don't think someone who would throw an egg out the window would be repentant 2 weeks later, and a letter would be a behavior change, like where this person now would stop assaulting people at demonstrations. It seems like there's so much anger and they're heated in Canton about, their side of the cause, that like I didn't think it would do anything. And I work with teenagers. Like, I have a pretty good understanding of what changes behavior and thoughts, restorative justice versus like just writing a letter,
Right. So, bottom line here is, you are going to keep pursuing this?
Yes.
Okay,
so,
good. God bless you for doing
yes, I don't know what, I got to figure it out and talk to people, but my next step is I have to call Lieutenant Ray back and get information. I have to call Chief Rafferty. I'm trying to set up an appointment with her. I was playing phone tag with Ray today because, again, like, I'm a single parent and I have my kids all day. And if I jump on the phone when, we're home and stuff, like, they're gonna, light the house on fire and beat each other up and burn the place down. Like, they'll, we give them a finger, they take the whole hand, they'll go crazy while I'm on the phone. So it's probably better if, like, it's during the week, like on a lunch break or something, when I have a room I could go and shut the door at work versus my house and everything. And then I would also like to speak with Chief Rafferty. I'm trying to coordinate.
She has not returned your calls. You've left messages for her, and she has not returned your calls.
That's right. I did, as I was waiting to come on today, she did reply to me and copied Lieutenant Ray on it. And
in an email?
Yes. She said that because I emailed her a bunch of times. I emailed her this afternoon again. I said, I'm trying to get in touch with you. I see that you passed my message that I wanted to speak with you along to a colleague, but I would like to speak with you because I'm really concerned about her publicly stating something about me and my son. Yeah. First of all, it's not plausible for a 5-year-old to drive down a Dedham, especially with no notice. But I don't feel like that was an accurate portrayal. That was in the newspaper, and everybody knows it's me because I have talked about it in my community. You were kind enough to discuss it on your blog, to bring attention to it, to help Canton, to help my family move through this. So, like, it's not a mystery who I am, you know what I mean? Right. So she publicly outed me in a way that I felt was slanderous because I didn't fail to show up. I didn't have any notification, and I had people
because it makes you sound like a deadbeat. I mean, the type of people who don't show up for court are usually named Chris
That's
Albert.
Right.
Or Julie Albert. Like, those are the type of individuals who are associated with not showing up for court.
Right.
Deadbeats. And so that makes you sound like you just didn't give a shit that your kid had an egg thrown at him. You couldn't be bothered to show up for court. They wanted you to. It's like when they do with, rape victims, when, like, if they don't, we had to drop it because they didn't want to testify, right? Like, they make it seem like, well, that it's maybe you were lying the first time. Like, that is what they're trying to make it seem like by doing that.
Right. And I'm not, and I'm very tenacious. If you know me, I'm kind of like, oh, hi, how are you? But, like, I'm a pretty tenacious person. If you live in Milford, you know that. And I do care about this teenage girl who allegedly threw the egg. And it sounds kind of like savior white horse-ish, but, like, I do care about her. I don't want her to do this. I want her, like, for all my students, I want kids to have these opportunities.
Because you're a teacher. Correct?
Yeah, guidance counselor. Yep.
Guidance counselor. Okay.
Half kind of education, half mental health. I want kids around that age to have a corrective experience. I want them to make these mistakes when they're young, and with the support of their school and their parents and people like me who care, realize like, hey, if I feel this way about the Karen Reed case, there's a different way I got to go about. I got to organize a peaceful rally or hold up a sign or write a letter, but not throw things at people. So as much as I care about my own family, like I care about teenagers. I want this young lady to realize like, you care about this issue, you have a voice, but there's a different way you got to do it. So that's also part of why I want to have a meeting with the magistrate. You know,
well, that's great. And so I just I got to let you go, but I really appreciate you coming on, and I wanted to have you on because there is a meeting in 2 days, and I thought your story was emblematic of why we need a yes vote on Monday, because this is a town where the police are, like, nobody's perfect, and for them to say that no audit is necessary suggests that they have achieved perfection. Clearly they have not, because you are not from Canton. You're an out-of-towner. And I don't think it would matter if you were from Canton. If you're not in with the McAlberts, I think you would get the same treatment. But especially because you're not a taxpayer in Canton, I feel like it's easier for them to dismiss you. But Canton should be safe for everyone, even people who don't live in Canton, which there seems to be a lot of, like, you know, they did this to Alan Jackson when he came down, of like, go back to where you came from. You don't belong here. This is our town. And that they threw that egg at your child because you get out of my town. Like, that's what that was a message of, like, you don't belong here, you know, go back to where you came from. And the problem is not just the McAlberts. The problem is the bigger problem is the institutions that are protecting them, and they need an outside look to come in and just look it all over, look at incidents like this and say, this is not how a police department is supposed to run. There's a better way to do this. And that is what an audit is supposed to do. So I had you on because I thought your story was emblematic of why everyone should vote for yes, because 5-year-old children should not have eggs thrown at them while going to peaceful protests in town.
Absolutely. And thank you for having me on. I just want to say, Canton, I support you from afar. I hope you all get out there and you feel brave and you feel strong. And I was scared to come on. I was afraid to go to Canton Police Department and file this report. My knees were shaking when I went in there. I don't really know why, but just after reading everything that's happening there, it was scary to go in. But you just got to do it. You got to be brave. You got to, like, lean in together and just do it and get out there and vote yes. And there will be tons of people out there to help you, escort you. They got flashlights. They got Karen Reed signs. So just get out there on Monday and know that everybody in the 508 supports you. And whatever we can do, just keep telling us what we can do. And Aiden, thank you very much. I'm so proud, and everything you're doing is just amazing for the town of Canton, and it has a ripple effect that is going to help a lot of people. So keep doing what you're doing, and go Rita.
Yes. Thank you very much, Jen.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. We'll talk soon. Bye. She was great, wasn't she? You know, she's like the perfect example of, like, if that, like, you think she's the problem, like that woman, she's she works in a school. She's a guidance counselor, single mother, wants her kids, like, not her first, you know, she brings her kids to stuff like that because she wants them to be empathetic towards other people who they don't know. Like, that's the whole purpose of the type of rallies that this woman takes her kids to, you know, not necessarily political stuff, but like empathy. Like, that is what she's pushing here. And she brings this kid to this thing, and this is going to be one of his first memories in life that he's going to remember, is having somebody throw an egg at him, and he doesn't know why it happened. And you should not live in a town where children have to worry about having eggs thrown at them, and that the people who did it not only get covered for, but then the police lie and don't tell you about a magistrate's hearing and then blame you in the media for not going. If that is not and then Helena Rafferty cannot even address her, cannot respond back to her. Helena Rafferty chirps at Sean on the Gulf on Twitter. She has time for that. She has time to go in front of the Board of Selectmen and say, anyone can talk to me afterwards, except if you try to talk to me, and then I won't talk to you. You know, she is the problem. Like, people like Helena Rafferty have lived their entire lives in Canton, have never moved. They're ingrained in the community. I think like probably 80% of that police department probably went to Canton High School, and they all know each other, and they're gonna cover for each other. There's a huge systemic problem. The Board of Selectmen, the same way. And so that is why we need institutional change, and it begins Monday at the special town meeting. So thank you very much Jennifer, and we'll be in touch with her moving forward. Before I have Rita on, she's backstage. I'm going to have her on in a moment to talk about the special town meeting some more. Just want to read a couple turtle chats here. We got from John Stark. He says, for those that are scared to come out Monday, here's what happened to the signers of the Declaration of Independence. 5 signers were captured by the British as traitors and tortured. Okay. Yeah, it's a long thing. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but basically saying, a few townies and a corrupt chief are nothing compared to the strength of the Canton residents. So basically, I understand you're scared, but remember, these are people who sell mediocre pizza in a small town. This is not Tony Soprano. Okay. You can show up, you can make your voice heard, and this is how you create institutional change, because they're going to show up. And that's what we're going to talk about when we have Reed on. Next up, Elizabeth sends $50. Thank you, Elizabeth. Says, free Karen Reed and happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Elizabeth. I really appreciate that dono. Denise sends $25. Says, thank you for standing up for justice. I appreciate your honesty. I am praying for Karen and you. Well, thank you very much. Got a couple cash apps to bang through here. First up, we have Tina Murray. Sends $25 and says TTBs for life. Okay. Thank you very much, Tina. Jen Altman sends $25. Not rude. Says, keep up the great work. TTBs for life. Was this a gang? All right. 7 pounder back at it. Sends $10 and says, Thanksgiving Chinese food. No, I don't like Chinese food. Gets stuck in my teeth. Chelsea O'Neill sends $5. Says, but we love it. Oh no, then she sent $15 on the one before that says, my 11-year-old son says you sound like a masshole, but we love it. Thank you very much, Chelsea. Appreciate that. Nicole sends $25 and says, we stand with you and Karen. Justice for Turtle Boy and Karen Reed. Thank you very much, Nicole. That means a lot. Caitlin sends $25 and says, what about free Karen Reed merch for dogs on the Turtle Boy store? Maybe we'll see if we can get that done for you. Thank you, Caitlin. Damien sends $20 and says, good to see you live once again. Much respect. Yeah, Damien, they couldn't keep me down for too long. I'm just being very careful. I don't want to spend Christmas in jail. Carrie sends $25 and says, you're the best. Thanks for all you do. My pleasure, Carrie. I really appreciate that. Jay sends $5 and says, yellow outhouse tails is a fuckboy. Hate that motherfucker. Thank you. Yeah, $5. Apparently, somebody sent me a message before this. He said that Chris Albert is going to go on his show. If that's true, that will be the first time I ever turn in to Yellow Cottage Tales. Is if the night that I'm watching that one. I don't watch Kevin because he's not a serious person. But if Chicken Parm Charlie goes on his show, I'm watching, because the only people that seem to talk in this whole affair are from the defendant's side. Like, it says a lot, I think, right? That there is Karen Reed dog stuff, I'm told, in the store. So check that out. It is interesting that Karen Reed's attorneys allow her to go on. Where did she go on? Dateline and Nightline? Like, shows that millions of people are going to see and just talk and she's being charged with murder. But last I checked, none of the McAlberts are charged with anything. They're all innocent, right? That's what we're told. They're all innocent people who totally had nothing to do with the murder of John O'Keefe and certainly didn't cover it up. And they have nothing to hide, but you can't look at their phones or anything like that, or go in their house you can't do any of that stuff. But they're completely innocent. So innocent that they've all lawyered up for some reason and been called in front of a grand jury for some reason, and can't talk freely for some reason. Wouldn't submit to interviews with the Boston Magazine reporter Gretchen Voss, right? Speak through third parties exclusively, but they're innocent, apparently. I mean, that's it. So if Chris Albert does go on with Kevin Tales, if he goes on there, that will be obviously the highest rated show. I will watch that. I will watch that one 1000%. But we all know he's not going on, because he's a pussy. He's not going on there. You think he's going on there? Stop it. And by the way, someone else sent me a message. Like, this is from August. I was going through some old pictures, and maybe I can bring this up. Let me send this to myself. Actually, let me see if I got this here. This is a message that, okay, that I am going to send. All right. All right, check this out. Before we go any further, I just got to show you this, just to show you. This message is, I believe, from like in August. Let me pull this up. Give me 1 sec. And then I swear we're going to get Rita on in a sec. Sorry, Rita. I'll bring you on shortly. Promise. All right, hold on. I just got to show you this thing. Just to show you the kind of person that we're dealing with here. So this is somebody who was messaging with Chris Albert in August. In August, this message. And this person sent me this screenshot in August. And look what he's telling this woman in August. He says, I'm grasping at 6:30 on a beautiful Sunday, and you're texting me, a witness in a state murder case, but not really. I'd be careful. I'd be careful. Just listen to the language this guy's using. Is this not a guy who knows that the entire machinery of the police department exists to do his bidding? Is that not the sound of entitlement right there? I'd be careful. It's always ominous with this guy. You know, it'd be unfortunate if you did that. You're going to get it. You'll see. You'll see. I'd be careful. I'm a witness in a state. They had been pushing this whole, like, I'm a witness thing, that you can't question them or speak to them ever, because he's a special class of citizen called a witness. And you'd be careful. You'd be careful that you don't get in trouble for intimidating a witness. Just look at this message. This is from August. I will be forwarding all of your correspondence to the proper authorities. Remember in June, he called his brother Kevin within 5 seconds, and the police were down there, and the police told me I did nothing wrong. Remember, they called the police on me again. Officer Zepp showed up after my most recent D&E appearance, my last one, and told me I was doing nothing wrong. But these people love to just call the cops to the proper authority. Please stop intimidating me so I don't testify. Just look at the language that he's using there. Look at the language that he's using there. This is a guy who is intentionally weaponizing a statute in order to insulate himself from any sort of criticism. These are the kind of snakes that we're dealing with here. Okay. It's so disgusting. It's so horrible and disgusting, but guys, good is going to prevail over evil. Like, there are definitely, like, you see that, like, so I don't testify. Like, notice how he puts that in there. He puts that in there, like, oh, you're scaring me out of testifying by messaging. You can't messaging me. Oh no, I'm scared of testifying. That's what he's saying with that message. He is making a mockery of it, an absolute mockery of it. So thank you very much. I don't know how I got down that road, but Rich R sent $25 earlier without a comment. Thank you, Rich R. Jane sends $20 and says, we got you, Aiden. # free Karen Reed. Thank you, Jane. Kevin sends $25 he said this Thursday and said, they got the gun, but you got the pen, the sword, which is mightier. Thank you very much, Kevin. Appreciate that. Next up, we got Erin sends $50 the other day. And she said, take the kids out for an ice cream. I appreciate you. Thank you very much, Erin. I'll do that, and they will appreciate that very much. They love ice cream. Pina sends $10 and says, keep winning on Thursday. Thank you. Deanna on Wednesday sent $20 and says, great idea with the pre-recorded videos, and I'm going to keep doing them. Thank you. Carrie sent on Tuesday. She sent $25, said, sending love and good vibes from San Francisco. And yes, so, and then we have one more here from Sean Colburn, another Cantonite, great guy that speaks out of the meetings a lot, and says, Sean from Canton said $10, said, we got this. Yes, you do, Sean. And I met one of your buddies last night as well. Good people. So, okay. And if anyone else wants to donate, I will read some more turtle chats later. I actually got one more here just to read. J. Co sends $25 and says, for buffalo chicken dip on Thanksgiving, vote yes, Canton, hold the Canton Police Department and Select Board accountable. You're absolutely right. So if anyone else wants to donate, the link to the Turtle Chat is on top, or you can cash at me at $ Uncle Turtle Boy. Okay. So let's bring on our good friend, a very popular woman in this community right now, who is, not afraid of being shit on by the McAlbert crew and taking a few errors. It means shit to her, clearly. So we're gonna have Rita Lombardi on now. How you doing, Rita? Welcome.
Good. How you doing?
Good, thank you. Good, thank you. You're very popular these days around here.
Yeah.
And for good reason, because you have been, if you guys are unfamiliar with Rita, if you watched any of the Canton Select Board meetings, she gets up and speaks her mind frequently, has had a lot of good quotes up there. I think the first time I ever saw you up there, you're like, maybe I am a little out of line. Maybe I am, but maybe we need that. Maybe we need to get a little out of line. Maybe I am. But so what inspired you to start going to Select Board meetings?
To be honest with you, I have never been political and I've never been an activist. And you inspired me. And so what happened was, the murder happened in my neighborhood. And my daughter had mentioned something to me in the April timeframe, and she had mentioned you. And I had a lot going on, and I thought it was just defense strategy. You know how the defense. I mean,
yeah, right. Yeah, you assume that they have to say that, right?
And then I said, yeah. So I said, well, yeah, I really, I just thought it was a terrible accident. And then about a month later, I was at a funeral and I ran into a neighbor, and we started talking. And then she told me about you, and I said, Turtle Boy, what are you telling me?
Have you ever heard of Turtle Boy before that?
No.
Okay,
I think my daughter mentioned Turtle Boy, but I had so much going on, and I'm like, well, honey, I don't have the facts. I don't know, so I couldn't form an opinion. And then my friend told me, it's really, you got to watch this, because the two of us are talking, we both live in the neighborhood. So my fiance and I started listening to you, and it just took off from there. I mean, you had facts. You were reading, you were making stuff up. You had facts. And you were reading court documents, and it was riveting. And the more I listened, I said, I have to get involved, and I have to do something about this. It's my neighborhood. It's my town. And she could be my daughter. She could be my son. She could be anybody. Karen Reed could be anybody.
Yes.
And I said, I hate to say how old I am, but I'm 63 years old. And yeah. It's the Italian genes and the cream.
I'm not just kissing your ass. You don't look 63. You don't even look close to that.
And I said, I've got to do this while I have the energy. Not that I think I'm ever going to run out of energy, but I said,
you don't seem like it. You don't seem like it. No.
And I said, I have to do this. And I was just compelled. I had to do it. And I knew that I had the expertise to help Karen. And I just kept listening to you. And you were telling people peaceful protest, be respectful. And you were doing all the right things. And, it was really exciting to hear the way you were encouraging people to go out and protest. And so here I was, never involved. And there's more to the story, which I'm not, I have a whole story, but, I have, everybody here is connected one way or the other. Everybody is impacted by this tragedy. Everything is so intertwined that everybody's connected in one way or another, and families are split. And, but this was something I felt I had to do. And I got to tell you, I'm having the time of my life. People getting together, Americans, using our voices in a peaceful way to protest what we feel and we know is unjust. I mean, this isn't even a feeling. The evidence is overwhelming that Karen Reed is not only not guilty, she's innocent and was framed.
Yes.
And, you know, to use our voices to speak is really, it's an incredible feeling every time I get out there, and it's an incredible.
How sure are you on a percent that Karen Reed is innocent?
How sure?
Yeah,
1%, 1,000.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Like I would, you know, bet my house on it and not think twice about it. Like,
absolutely,
you know, I would have no
my bottom
whatsoever.
dollar.
Right.
Yeah, there's no way, and it's really unfortunate that this woman has been put through this, and it makes you scratch your head and say, how many others? How many others? And then we look at you, and they arrested you with all these felony charges on fragments of sentences.
Yes, out of context, completely out of context.
Sentences.
The meaning's changed. Yeah, totally.
And you know, it's pretty frightening that people feel so emboldened that they can do that in plain view.
Right.
And you know, so that's how I got involved. And, you know, prior to this, I had the utmost respect for the Canton Police Department. And, you know, the other side's trying to say, oh, we're anti-police. That's not the case.
No, not at all.
I've been pro-police, you know, my entire life. And I have relatives that have served on the Canton Police Force. I have relatives since I was a child that served on the Canton Fire Department, you know. So I, as a child, always respected the Canton Police Department because it was family to me in a way, even though it was my father's relatives. You know, it's my relatives. It's like second and third cousins, you know. And I always had the utmost respect. But then when I started to see what you were presenting, you know, to the class, and it was just every day. I mean, you're the turtle riders know every day our jaws are dropping. Oh my God. I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
What'd you think of that last story? What'd you think of that? I mean, are you even surprised by that story? Doesn't that just pull at your heartstrings? Like how horrible it is?
Like, Jennifer was such a wonderful person. And, you know, we cover for her, someone who throws an egg. I mean, we don't even send the person, you know, the notice that she's supposed to go to court for this, and we play games and then say she didn't show up and then make it look like.
You know what the sad part is? I'm not the least bit surprised about it, and that's the problem.
No.
That did not surprise me at all that they would pull something like that.
Yeah.
So let's talk. And by the way, shout out to Angela Chan O'Donnell, and I had a comment up there before. It's just like she was the person that I first saw going to these meetings, and I didn't even think about that. And ever since she went there, it's almost like inspired this movement of other like-minded, civically engaged people to go to these meetings. And yes, that is an appropriate forum to air your grievances because they ultimately are in charge, and not just because Chris Albert's on there, regardless of whether or not he's on the board, and it does matter that he's on, but that they are in charge of being the check and balance on the police department. It is their job. And if they are simply a rubber stamp for the chief of police, then they are problematic too. And that's what brings us to the special town meeting that you guys have kind of put together, you know, through and Kathleen has been a driving force in that, obviously, and many others. And so this happens on Monday. So let's talk brass tacks here, right? So like, how are you planning to mobilize the vote for that, with the understanding that you've seen what they've done recently, how they had that last meeting packed, right? They had all those people there. And I do want to ask you about that shortly too.
Oh, I got to tell you about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Yeah. You've seen that these people are clearly organizing a get out the vote thing.
Yeah.
And at the select board meeting yesterday, I think they voted 5-0, right?
Yes.
Didn't they to what? I mean, it's just
to oppose.
Yeah, to oppose. So that and they're kind of representative of, I mean, they were all elected, all 5 of them. So what is your plan to mobilize the vote? Because, you know, it's about getting people to the polls. That's how you win elections, is you get it's not necessarily the best candidates, it's the best apparatus, the best machine. How are you going to get people to vote at the meeting on Monday?
plan. So, and we've been executing our plan. So, we've been getting the word out, and the Canton community or Canton Confidential went pause. That was kind of interesting. And so we created a new webpage, Canton Community Voices. So anybody who wants to join, you're welcome to join, except fake accounts. We don't take those. And as long as you play nice in the sandbox, you can come in. But, so we quickly created this new Facebook page, and we brought in, I think, almost 3,000 people in maybe a week. And everything is word of mouth. And I have to tell you, people are reaching out, love from all over. This movement is so huge, and I frankly think it could be a turning point in our country. People want America back. They want truth and justice and transparency. They do. We're tired of other stuff, And so we are out there not protesting, but holding signs, letting people know all over town. I don't know if you saw the video of me at the church. That was so much fun.
I saw getting on the bus.
Oh my God, we had so much fun. And so, of course, something came out. There's a notice that says you can't go on church property, which I knew I couldn't go on church property. So I was on the sidewalk. And then I have to tell you the love I got from the parishioners coming out of church. So we got them coming out and we got them going in. And 2 cars stopped and told me, and people of my age told me that they were arrested on false charges.
Oh, wow.
And they had been through similar things, and they were going to go to the meeting. And when people came out, it's like, okay, are you from Canton? If you're not from Canton, do you know someone from Canton? Will you take the flyer and give it to them? And there has been a massive push to get the word out. So normally at the town meetings, there's 200 people. They're expecting over 1,000. This is going to be record setting.
Wow. And so how does it work? So what time does it start?
It starts at 7, but we don't recommend people get there at 7. So people that are going to help, we have a website. If people want to help, they can send it to Canton Special Town Meeting at gmail.com. They send an email in there and tell us that they're available to help, hold signs or whatever. The Canton people are the only ones that are allowed into the high school, and I believe on the high school property. So people, senior citizens will probably get there about 5:30, but I think people should get there early because we believe it's going to be overflow and quite a meeting.
How does it work? So is there a general discussion of this? And then how does the vote happen? How does this work?
So the way it works, and, I haven't been to town meetings in a while, just because life goes on and there's so much going on, and they last a long time. So I'm hoping this doesn't last that long. So what happens is you have warrants. They're really articles of discussion. And right now I think it's up to 8 articles. And the first 3 are like housekeeping, the moderator, and whatever. And then there are articles that will be discussed. And the Board of Select, I believe, has a recommendation. The petitioners have a recommendation, and it will vote on it. Now, the key thing about this, and I want to tell anybody that's watching, go vote, and vote your truth.
Is it secret ballot?
Well, yeah. So we wanted a secret ballot. So here's the thing, right? The regulations say, and in my last job, I spent 8 years working with lawyers and state regs. So I'm very familiar with state regs. And the state regs or the town regs say that if the voters choose to vote by special written ballot, then you can't do that in less than 36 hours. And I believe it was written in a way so that it would give the town clerk time to prepare the written ballots. Well, now we've got automation and everything, and they could proactively, and I believe they did try to proactively do the written ballot, but because the bylaw says it has to be less than 36 hours, or it can't be less than 36 hours, it pushes it, into the Thanksgiving week. So the moderator, Alan Hines, I have to give him kudos, and to Tracy, the town clerk, they came up with an alternative that is legal. And what Alan is going to do is put the vote to the people. And if people want to vote, normally we vote by raising cards. And a lot of people are intimidated.
Is this in the high school auditorium?
Yes. And people people can see how you vote.
Right.
And so Alan is going to say, you know, do you want to vote that way by raising your hands? And if people, the majority say no, because he's going to tell them what the alternative is. And the alternative is that they will be given teller cards and they will be able to take their yes or no vote and go put it in the box.
So so people are just, there's going to be 1,000 people in an auditorium and people raising their hands up and someone's just going to go around counting them.
So they can tell. So it's a majority vote. So they can tell if people.
Yeah, that's true. You can tell. Okay, right. Okay.
You can tell, and if not, then they count. And so, but people are terrified, and the other side know. And I hate to say the other side because we're all one town, but the people who oppose what we're doing know that people are intimidated because people work with these people. People, you know, they're at the town hall, there's sports, there's schools. So people are connected and people, they know that people, it's going to be harder for people to vote their truth if they are seen, which is why they're opposing this. So if people vote to have privacy in their voting, then they'll be able to vote with these teller cards and drop a vote in a box and it will be counted. And
you'll be able to tell right away if this is going to work or not. Like you'll be able to read the room, you know, like, so it's like, I doubt it'll come down to 50-50. Like you'll be able to tell who has the majority, who's going to vote one way. So that leads me to my next question is, what you're up against is not just the McAlberts, right? There's only like 40 of them. Like if it's just them against the world, then you're going to win. But the problem is that people trust institutions, right? And people trust their local police department. And that's what they've been pushing. Like the Morathis Carpeting has a sign outside that says like, we support the men and women of the Canton Police Department. That is a popular slogan that sells, right? Because people want to trust their local police department, right? So of course, that's not what this is about. It's not about it's just a simple audit, which is standard. So how are you convincing the average person in town who doesn't watch Turtle Boy, who isn't up to date with the Karen Reed case, who generally has lived in Canton their whole life, you know, minds their own business, trust the police for the most part? How are you convincing them that they should vote yes on this? What are you saying to them?
So you know, that's a good question. So how are we getting them to vote yes? Well, we're going to have to give them the reasons. I mean, and the thing about it is it's not like we don't trust the Canton Police Department. Many businesses are audited without an issue every year. And my position is, why should our law enforcement and government who run this country not be subject to the same kind of standards that we are?
Good answer. It's a good answer.
Yeah.
That's a lot better of an answer than getting into the whole conspiracy. Because it's just, when you start doing that, first of all, nobody has enough time. You got 30 seconds to make your pitch, you know, so you don't have time to explain the whole Karen Reed case and, you know, cover-ups and Alberts and McCabe. You don't have time for that. So I think that's the best answer right there, is that this is good government, right? People, you know, like asking for an audit is good. It's a good investment. Like it costs a couple $100,000, right? But the returns on that could be like if you have a police department that gets sued and costs the town millions of dollars, this is how you can avoid that, by auditing and creating good government.
And this town's going to get sued. This town is going to get sued.
Yes, it is.
Big time. Big time. So people who are saying, oh, $200,000, trust me, that's nothing. You know, it's and the thing about
they just had to pay for lawyers to go to federal court to fight that you know, TRO that for the, you know, like that costs money. And that should not have happened. That whole that protest is legal and everyone knows it's legal. And then you guys had to pay for the lawyers to go and litigate that in federal court.
Right. And look at the Karen Reed case. I mean, look at all the money being wasted there on somebody who is completely innocent. I mean, that's a waste of money. People want to talk about, you know, the money for an audit. That's a waste of money, what we're doing. And, you know, so it's good business, and you will get your money back in an audit because you're going to improve. And that's what it's all about. It's not about, punishing this person. It's about what's broken and let's fix it. And, if people are doing things that they're not supposed to do, then they need to be held accountable. And, that's just the way it is. And why we don't have this in our government and our law enforcement is beyond me, because, that's what puts them above the law, and no one's above the law.
Right. And I just want to say, by the way, with that last one, so my attorney is watching right now, and he wanted to give a message to Jennifer Harford out there. And he specifically said that that if you want, you can tell her that you asked me to represent her, and I'll do it for nothing. So there you go, Jennifer. It's out there. So if they continue to dog you like that, Tim Bradle is going to help you out with that, because you're up against an institution there, and they're going to keep doing you that, and you need someone that has your back and knows your rights. So I appreciate that. But I want to talk about next what happened. So obviously we need to get everyone there, bottom line.
Absolutely.
Or don't get there at 7. Don't get there at 7. Get there at what time?
Oh, you got to get there before 7. And you have to be there when you go. And so a lot of the people that are going have never been to town meeting before. So people think you're just going to go get a ballot and that's it. That's not the way it works. When there's a town meeting, you need to sit for the articles. And there's discussion that goes on. So, it's typically a long night. My hope is that they're going to address these very quickly, so that people can be on their way for the holiday week. But they have to be there to vote. And you can't take a ballot home. You have to be there to vote. So the vote will either be raising your hand or voting for this alternative and very creative solution that's legal to meet the needs of the community. And it's all about the safety of the community. So I just want to say this to anybody from Canton that's watching. This is about safety. And people know that because they're intimidated. So when it comes time to raise your hand, when Alan Hines says, do you want this alternative method? However he's going to introduce it, we want the alternative method. We want to use these telling cards so that we can privately and safely vote our conscience, whatever it is.
Right. Glad to hear. So yeah, everybody get out there. You heard them. You can get there as early as 5, but be there definitely before 7 o'clock. I know it's a commitment, but you know what? They are committed. They're going to be there. All of these people are going to show up. I honestly feel like that's kind of why they took charges out of me, is because I don't think any of them show up if I'm outside protesting. And because all of a sudden, when Turtle Boy got these orders on him, all of a sudden these people started coming out of the woodwork that we'd never heard before. And that what brings us to our next thing here. And that would be the incident at the last Board of Selectmen meeting where you spoke. So let me pull, was that a few weeks ago? When was that?
It was about 2 weeks ago, because the meeting's every 2 weeks.
Okay, so let me pull this up. I'm on the Canton Community TV page. Or no, wrong one. Actually, wrong page.
Yeah, that's right.
But it brings me to another pop-up. Let me pull it up.
It's the November. It's the November 12th, maybe.
Yeah, I don't see it. I see Canton Finance Committee one.
Oh, this website's awful.
Yeah, what the heck? Let's see. It's November 12th. Does anyone see it on here? Campaign. They don't put them in chronological order.
It's November 7th. It's November 7th.
November 7th. Does anyone see it, or am I blind?
Board of Select.
I see November 8th.
17th.
This one? No.
They had a full meeting. So it might be
the one they just had. I saved some of the clips of Denise Galvin speaking, and then I don't know if I have your speech. It was fucking awesome though. God damn it. Does anyone know if anyone has a link to that stream for that exact meeting? Type in
Angela, come on, send it in, Angela.
Yeah. If anyone has if you could DM it to me, that would be great, because I'd like to see the Young Jerks. Yeah, they stream everything. What am I thinking of? I'll just go to the Young Jerks. They got everything. What am I talking about? And whenever I need like that
was a good one. Meeting, so many things.
Go to the Young Jerks. They just live stream
on camera.
I think that's where they got it the first time. Let's see. Do they still have it up? Oh yeah, I got it. Never mind. I found it on the Young Jerks. They got everything. Okay, hold on. Give me 1 sec. Okay, here it is. Okay, so you were when people were watching this on TV play out, right?
Yeah.
Like you guys have been dominating these meetings, and then you got there and you noticed that clearly there was some type of organizational effort here for the McAlbert crew to kind of come out here. And you realized obviously you were severely outnumbered in this room. What was the atmosphere like in there for you, first of all?
So let me tell you what happened. So I didn't know that they were all going to show up. I knew that they were privately meeting to strategize and smear us, but I didn't know that they were all going to show up because I haven't seen any of them. And so I walk in, I had just made this new poster, which I love my poster, my Teddy Pendergrass poster, Wake Up Everybody. And I go in and I really wanted to hold it up high. And I see Elise. Elise is one of our,
Elise Cohen.
Yes, she's awesome.
Yeah, right, okay.
Does a lot of coordinating and, gets a lot of things going. And she's sitting at the front desk as I'm walking in. And she says to me, did you hear? And I said, did I hear what? And she goes, 53 people up there and they're all McAlberts. So I said, okay, no problem. So I took my poster and I jogged up the stairs. And so I walk in I couldn't even get in the room. It was so jammed. It was the most jammed I've ever seen. I couldn't even get in the room. So I finally get to the room and you could tell it's an unfriendly atmosphere. I couldn't even move. And so I moved maybe 5 feet to the right and I see, somebody else on the team with me. And I look at her and I could see there's a little uneasiness there. So I looked at her and I looked around and I said, okay. And so I said to myself, all right, I got to do something. Let these people know we're not intimidated. So
yes,
I took my sign, like my Statue of Liberty, Vanna White, combo impression. I took my sign, I held it high over my head and I turned and I slowly move around so they all can read my sign. And a couple of people up on the board cracked up. So it just kind of like let them know, hey, we're not afraid. And so then I walked over to where I usually walk because I knew I could get my sign on the camera by the microphone. And I walked by and Jill Daniels is in the middle of the aisle. And so I said hello to Jill. But she didn't like that too much. She said,
she didn't. Yeah, she was right there next to you. So Fields, is right here. Jill is right here looking beautiful as ever.
Yeah. And so
then Julie was right there. And then Jen McCabe is here. And I mean, wow, just all of them right there. That's wild.
And so I walked by Jill because I had made a connection with Jill a few years ago. I actually ran into her and, she lost her brother. I lost my niece and my nephew. And we became friends on Facebook. And I was always supportive of Jill. I didn't know Jill, but, we're Canton, and we both had a loss. And, so I had a connection with her in that way. And so I said hello to her, but she didn't want to say hello. I said, okay.
No.
Yeah, she wasn't interested in saying hello.
And just to let you know, Jill watches everything. A bunch of people got messages from Jill the other day. Some people were like, Jill was in my inbox and then she hit unsend for making comments. Like she monitors everything. She's watching right now. Hey Jill, I still don't want to date you, but sorry, you're not my type. But yeah, like these people listen to everything we say, and you've become, because you've been so public, you've become a target. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, I know. Oh, I know.
Yeah, but you don't seem to give a shit.
No, I don't.
And that's good. That's good. That's good. That's great.
Yeah.
And so Denise starts talking, and I'll play part of her thing here, just to show what we're up against here.
I never thought that I would feel the need to speak at a select board meeting, though after watching others speak passionately over the past several months on issues that directly affect my family, I decided it was time to take a voice and speak up. I am disheartened and disappointed in the members of the Canton community who continue to come before the select board to publicly vent frustrations and make accusations based on unsubstantiated claims that the police and the select board are somehow negligent in their duties.
So right away, she doesn't even attack. She attacks you guys, that you guys came forward. It's and you're the problem because you are civically engaged. How dare you become civically engaged? How dare you challenge the institutions in her town that protect her family?
Right. They're the victims.
Right. They're the
victims.
victims here.
Right.
They're used to that. So she goes on.
These people, without justification
These
or
people.
first-hand knowledge,
These people.
accused the Canton police of being incompetent and corrupt while raising questions at the select board about the police department's investigation into the death of John O'Keefe. Your accusations and anger against the select board and the police are based purely on speculation and rumors.
You're based purely on speculation. Do you feel like your interest in the select board and police department is based off of speculation and rumors?
No. And somebody sent me something. A lot of people sent the Davo thing or whatever. It's when somebody who does something wrong projects and becomes a victim. And that's what they do.
Yes.
That's what they
also
do.
Also known as narcissism.
Yes.
But that is as absolutely what they do here. It's just like it is, and I know better than anyone because I'm being charged. They're alleged victims of mine now somehow. That these people who quite clearly were involved in the cover up of a murder are somehow the victims because you have pointed this out. So you're the problem.
Right.
And yeah, it's like, so, and how dare you speak out? Like, shame on you. Shame. And by the way, they've been holding this in for so long and none of them could come down alone and say this at the meeting. They had to come as a group. That is the only way bullies know how to roll, is as a large group. I go down to the pizza shop by myself with Richie, the camera guy, and that's it. If other people want to come down after, I don't even publicize it. I'm standing there by myself in their town and nobody comes down. They can't show up unless there's 50 of them because that's how bullies roll, and now all of a sudden they've found their bravery and they're speaking out, and you're standing here. I mean, you're surrounded by jerk-offs here. I mean, look at this guy. Look at him. And then there's Jill, and then this one, Karen Kelly, who, by the way, has said some really interesting things about the Alberts and McCabe's like 2 months ago being complicit in the murder. And now all of a sudden is the white knight for them, but she's a hot mess. And then you have here Paul McAuliffe, Mr. like, oh, I'm a nice guy who wants compromise, but really he's no different from any of them. And then you got, Bob Galvin there and whoever this skinhead looking guy is. And this dude,
he's actually a good guy. That guy behind Bob is good.
Yeah. Okay. But then like this guy right here who stood up and cheered by that. Do you know who he is? Because I know.
I found out his name is, I forget. Tom.
His name is Tom Much.
Yeah,
Tom Much.
And he's married to a McAlbert.
Yeah, well, he was also fired. He was the Boston College women's hockey coach, and he was fired after it was discovered that he was sexting with a 19-year-old player on his team.
Wow.
So yeah, that's him. So that's Tom. Yeah, that's how they roll. And I've been meaning to do a story on him, but that's the typical kind of person that rolls with them. So anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt your speech. Let me play some more of this.
Initiated claims that the police and the select board are somehow negligent in their duties. These people, without justification or first-hand knowledge, accused the Canton police of being incompetent and corrupt while raising questions at the select board about the police department's investigation into the death of John O'Keefe. Your accusations and anger against the select board and the police are based purely on speculation and rumors. The Canton police, the select board, and the silent majority residents are not responsible for the divide within the Canton community. The divide in Canton.
By the way, the silent majority residents. By the way, you're responsible for the divide and silent majority. Do you feel like they are a silent majority?
I think that, let me say this too. The letters that Denise wrote, the letters that Denise read, and the letter that Karen Kelly wrote, and the affidavit that Chris Albert wrote about you, well, all of those three had similar language that was in the threatening letters that we all.
Yeah, because tell us about the letters. So you got these letters.
Yes.
She's kind of mocking and making it's like no big deal. What was on the letter? What did it say in the letter?
So we never published it, right? Because
I never did. Yeah,
the bottom part, because the top part was filled with such vitriol and how they were the victims, kind of like what she's reading right there. They're the victims, and all these things are happening, which is gaslighting. It's not happening. Saying that the protesters are doing all these things, which they're not. And so, anyways, so the letter, and then the next section, they wrote lies about us and our families, and they threatened to spread lies about us and our families on the internet. And so we didn't want to put that out there because it was rubbish and we didn't want to feed into that. Right. And so the only thing that we showed was the last part, which clearly was somebody who was running for office and felt that their position was threatened, and said that people were giving them campaign funds and legal advice. And so clearly that was a candidate on the Board of Select that had a hand in that letter, just by the language that they used. So, it was any person getting that letter would have been shaken up by that letter. And
you were obviously, it appeared in, did it have a stamp on it?
Oh yeah, I still have mine. Mine's in a plastic.
So it came through the U.S. mail. And
yes,
it was sent to you by somebody. And how many citizens got one? Would you say? How many random fucking citizens? Four. You got one.
Four of us. It was addressed to all four of us at the top. It said, all four names. And so what happened was one person got it and said, everybody check your mailbox. So one person had already opened it. And so I knew to go and protect mine for evidence. So I went out with my little plastic bag and I reached in, took it out of the mailbox and put it in the plastic bag, and it's in there. And I did go down to the police station because we were trying to figure out if we were going to report it and whatever.
They ain't going to do nothing.
They're not going to do anything,
They let you throw eggs at kids.
So then I went into the police station with it, and, I had it in the plastic bag, and I think I had it. I think I went down with it, or I just went down to report it because I wasn't giving it to them. And somebody already gave them a copy of it, and I knew they weren't going to do that. I said, I'm pretty sure it was Chris Albert.
It sounded like the language that he's written in my affidavit.
It was. He said he talked about peaceful living. It talked about peaceful living, and then he said. It said, people were giving him campaign money, and then they talked about don't overthrow a government elected official. And I mean, who else would that be? I mean, these people aren't that bright. So
no, they're not.
No, they don't. They don't. It's not. They're not.
Well, they think they can get away with anything because they can. Literally murder.
They
can do whatever they want, and why wouldn't they write that? And these are bullies. They see you guys getting engaged, and it doesn't matter. You're a 63-year-old woman.
Yeah.
You need to shut up and know your place. Like, that is how they view you. Like, shut up. Who are you to speak out against, us? Like, this is our town. This is Canton's our town. We own this town. You don't have a right to, try to change the power structure in this town. Have a seat, lady. We're going to write you this anonymous letter because they're cowards. They're absolute cowards to do something like that.
And they didn't get the reaction they were looking for.
And so listen how she transits here.
The community is caused by Karen Reed's defense team and online blogger, his followers,
it's my
and
fault.
A small fraction of outspoken Canton residents influenced by imaginary tales of conspiracy.
Imaginary.
These people are self-serving while claiming to want justice for John and his family. I stand here today to tell you, as someone who wants nothing more than justice for John, the O'Keefe family is appalled and outraged by the public accusations, protests, and harassment of people closest to John and his family.
And by the way, this is what just angers me the most, and I'm going to control my temper, and I'm not going to lash out, okay? Because I've already done that already. But I'm just so disgusted by this, knowing what their family did to John O'Keefe. For them, and that's the Davo thing, whatever they were talking about. It's like knowing what they did to John, to have the balls to stand up there and speak on behalf of John O'Keefe's family, because they kind of are. I mean, they've gaslighted the O'Keefes into believing that they give a shit about them. I mean, they fooled them pretty good, and now they just weaponize them. Like the whole, like, we have the O'Keefes, like, that is what they hold on to. Like, the O'Keefe family has our back, so we must be on the side of the righteous here, and that just disgusts me to no end.
Right. They put it out as a shield, like, don't come near us because the O'Keefe support us, and you're hurting them.
Yeah. And to be clear, I've gotten multiple Rizzitano cousins, that is Peggy's side of the family, who have reached out to me and said the exact opposite, that we appreciate the work you're doing. Even in the early days, Carl first messaged me and Paul O'Keefe messaged me, and both of them said that they wanted to get to the bottom of this, aka the bottom wasn't discovered yet. It was very clear that they were like something, because those guys knew John, and it was very clear, like, something's not they were not sold on it. I knew they weren't sold on it. Now, my personality ultimately turn them off. I think I scared them away because I was, douchey to them. But I don't apologize. It's just my personality. And I just think they're consumed with hatred for me and hatred for Karen Reed. And they've just blinded them. They have no interest in finding out who actually did this. But I'm just so sick of how these people weaponize John's family as if that makes them righteous.
Right.
And like,
and I want to
you're
say
the bad
something.
guy.
I want to say something about Karen too, and the hatred for Karen. And I don't know any of these people, even the people I'm working with. I didn't know anybody until this whole thing came together. And, for whatever reason, and I understand this family has been gone through grief. They lost their daughter. They lost their son-in-law, their children. I mean, tremendous grief, but for whatever reason, they didn't like Karen. And Karen was just trying to help. I mean, from what I can see, she did the GoFundMe for the kids. She was helping John. And, I think some of the family might have been blinded maybe by leftover grief. I don't know. But Karen, I've met Karen, and very nice person. And, she's a wonderful person and doesn't deserve the hatred that has been thrown her way. Doesn't deserve.
Yeah, and it's like the hatred all comes like, what are they mad about? Her defending herself? Like, it's like, do you want her to just give up? Like, she's supposed to just take this for the team. Like, yeah, sure, I didn't do this, but I better just go with it quietly because I don't want to offend the O'Keefes. Like that, God forbid I do that. Then, and by the way, like any animosity she has towards Paul O'Keefe and Peggy O'Keefe, quite frankly, is justified because, it's just like she's fighting for her life here, and you guys who were allegedly like family to her, essentially, were so quick to turn on her, without even without any like all of this overwhelming evidence that these people that you're standing in solidarity with clearly, even if I was Peggy O'Keefe and I thought Karen did it, when I heard about the Google search, I would be uncomfortable being around Jen McCabe. Even if I thought Karen did, I'd be like, because it's like, that's fucking shady as shit. Like until we figure this all out, I'm not hanging out with you, Jen, but she still does. And so that's why it's just like, I've said some unsavory things about the O'Keefes, which obviously have been exploited. Maybe I should have calmed myself down a little bit, counted to 10 before I said those things. But I just think what they're doing to Karen is immoral and awful. And I think that, them being used as a weapon and as a shield is even more disgusting.
I agree.
By it.
Yeah, I agree.
So let's play some more. So while you're still like, you are standing here just listening to this bullshit, and I can't.
She went over 3 minutes.
She did go over.
He shut us up, but not her.
Some residents tearfully spoke about anonymous harassment and fearing for the safety of their families due to receiving a mildly contentious letter. Have you been blind to the constant,
we're the victims.
Vicious,
we're the victims.
Hateful, abusive posts, letters, memes, messages, calls, visits, name calling.
Name calling
that has been directed at my family and friends for the past 8 months.
They're the victims.
On social media pages that you support. My
you
nieces
did this.
have been threatened and sexualized. If you support
my nieces have been sexualized.
Right.
What?
Right.
They're just making things up. And like, it's this gaslighting. Like, no, yeah, like they're like, yeah, sure, you got this letter and it's pretty disturbing that you got this letter in the mail, but who gives a shit? Look we're the victims here. We are the victims. People are saying mean things about us, about the Google search, and they're sexualizing my niece. And like, oh God, it's just
nobody
the gaslighting.
Nobody sexualized.
Nobody sexualized anything.
Right.
Stop it.
And a lot of the stuff she's saying is made up.
Right.
They never produced proof.
Yeah. It's just like, and it doesn't matter to these people. It sells. Like they're just like, yeah, it must be true. I mean, it's working in my case. Essentially, that's all this is they're painting Colin Albert as a victim. Oh my God. I just imagine following what we've followed and learning what we've learned about Colin Albert and with the straight face pretending that he's in any way, shape, or form a victim. Like it's amazing that these people are able to do it. Jen McCabe with her cockiness out there and her smile and her arrogance, being like, that woman's a victim, or Liz Proctor is a victim. Get out of here. It's insane. It's insane. And so you're sitting here listening to this. She keeps going.
This grand conspiracy that includes attacks on police and the select board, then you condone the abuse and harassment of everyone involved. Unlike you, my family didn't ask for this. They didn't insert themselves into a case. They are witnesses to some events and a tragic death of someone they loved. I realize that this tale of corruption is exciting for some, but this case will be tried in a courthouse, not by a blogger charged with felony
They love to bring
intimidation
that
and
up.
harassment.
They love
who
bringing that
hurls
up.
profanities and attacks people's physical appearance. For
Oh
pleasure.
no!
It seems like the outspoken Canton residents may want to consider
they're okay.
tolerance and acceptance.
Oh
and
yes,
ask themselves,
tolerance.
why
Tolerance.
are they so quick to believe
Oh
a
goodness.
false narrative concocted as a legal strategy? In closing, on behalf of my family and friends, I would like to say thank you to the Select Board and the Canton Police Department. Don't let the efforts of a few overshadow the gratitude and appreciation of many. For those of you who are not happy with our Select Board, have some respect for the democratic process and allow them to do their jobs. The constant derailing of these meetings interferes with town business. Thank you to everyone who's offered support. And if you ask how you can help, please show up at the special town meeting on November 20th and stand behind your police department and your select board.
What a... Who's that guy pointing at?
Me.
Who is it?
Me and Jennifer Trethaway. So I got to tell you what I did. So when they all clapped, right? They thought they were intimidating us, right? So I started clapping too.
Oh. And why the fuck is he pointing? Like, what is he pointing at you guys for?
I don't know.
But they don't intimidate. People are saying it's Tom Cunningham, not Tom Much. I don't know. Is that definitely Tom Cunningham? Because they go on Tom. Well, Tom Much did do that at BC, so nothing I said about that's untrue. But I'm told that he's buddies with them too. But he looks a lot like it, that guy. But either way, wait, is he the guy? Is he married to?
He's married to a McCabe. He's married to a McCabe. They don't know if it's a cousin or a sister.
Okay. Whoever he is, but so he's out there and they're pointing at you and they. What was it like? I mean, you just stood there and you stoically just didn't break
Well, when she's reading and I said, I'm thinking to myself, wow, that's awfully familiar. That was in my letter.
Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you one thing, you have a lot more bravery than any of them, because at other meetings where, the other side, if you don't like the side thing, but like the other side is all there in numbers, they don't show up. They don't speak. It's like, that's the difference between you and them. You're the person that goes into a hostile crowd and speaks anyway. They're the people that are afraid of a hostile crowd, not physically afraid, but mentally afraid. Like they don't have it in them, the fortitude to go in there and, and speak in front of because they're cowards. That's what bullies do. Bullies are afraid of the sunlight. They hide in the dark.
And
go ahead.
I'm going to tell you something about Tom Cunningham. So Tom Cunningham, he's the one who's pointing, right? And when I start to speak and I say, I wish you wouldn't laugh, that was Tom Cunningham again.
Oh, we're going to get to that. Can we play that now?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Let's play your speech now, actually. All right, here we go. Jennifer was great. I'm just going to jump to yours, though. I love Jennifer. She's great. But I want to get to yours, or else we'll be here all night.
Rita Lombardi, 8 Kings Road, and I really don't have anything prepared. I know that's a shock. But, we are suffering, guys. We are suffering. And we really need to come together. We are looking, we have come before you looking for leadership, looking for accountability. We do support the Canton Police Department. And yes, we do. And just like any business, you have good employees and you have not so good employees. The same goes with the government and the same goes with the police department. And we're just looking for accountability for people, to do things. Audits are nothing to be afraid of. I worked for a company for 17 years. They did audits every year. It was compliance. They had to. And then they audited the work that was performed. And so, this country has been in, and I think this is reflective of what has been going on in this country for the last several years. We're at war with the truth. And the truth, you have the truth, and then you have gaslighting. People who make statements like you just made, unsubstantiated.
So right there is where, this is the turning point when you turned to Denise Galvin and like, people are lying. like you. and now it's going to get, the tone quickly changes because, that's the elephant in the room. You're clearly addressing her lies, and she's been staring at you this entire time.
That say we have done things without specifics.
Let's just do, please.
Some of the writing in this.
So what was she saying to you there?
I'm going to sit down.
She told you to sit down?
Yeah, she goes, sit down. And I said, no, I won't sit down. And then I pulled out my letter, because I hadn't had anything planned. I thought I would be thinking about it while I was sitting there. And I had my letter in my pocket. And so, it just kind of happened. I pulled the letter out and it was perfect. It was just like, now I recognize some of the writing in this letter. But yeah, she told me to sit down. And I said, yeah, homie, don't play that game. No, I'm not sitting down.
Homie, don't play that. Well, it's just like you didn't interrupt them during their 3-minute nonsense or whatever, 4-minute nonsense, however long she rambled on for there about whatever lies. And then you get up and you speak, have a response to that. And it's just like the bullying starts. That is the bullying. These peoples are bullies. Whatchamacallit, roast beef Ronnie called us bullies with cameras. Well, they're bullies with guns. And they're bullies with badges, and they're bullies with institutions behind them and gavels. And that's what these people are. And what you saw in that room is just like the high school mentality in Canton of the cool kids, the mean kids who bully people like you into sitting up, and you can't sit at their table. You can't sit with them. You're not one of the cool kids, and they're going to shut you up. And literally they're telling you that. And just this, what I'm seeing there is actual bullying, and the Board of Selectmen enables this to happen.
Yeah. They knew what was going on. They knew that letter was getting written. They were part of the committee that the meetings that they had.
Yep. And so you kept going.
Please, I know. Excuse me, folks. Let the speaker speak.
Okay. Look, all I'm saying is if people are going to make accusations, they should support it with facts and not just say somebody this or somebody. We know there's a big smear campaign coming after us. People need to know what is truth. If people cannot defend what they said with facts, then it's gaslighting. And all I'm saying is I hope that we can come back together again as a community, but we have to start somewhere. And if we wait until after this trial, and by the way, none of us have come here asking questions about the trial. We're not asking, but we're asking for leadership. And Tom, you and Mike know I've met with you personally, and so have other people outside of this environment to help us move forward. That's all we want to do is move forward. And so I wish you wouldn't laugh.
So who was that laughing right there?
Tom Cunningham.
Tom Cunningham. Okay, so he was laughing at you. He was just turning around and laughing at you.
Yeah, he was a big bully.
I thought it was Jen McAlbert because she was sitting right there and you kind of pointed. Did Jen look at you at all? Did she do anything?
Didn't look at me at all.
She never does.
That was okay with me. That was okay.
She's such a coward. She's such a coward. Yeah. And so Tom was laughing at you. I mean, how rude. And you, to your credit, were like, don't laugh. I wish you wouldn't do that. And you kept going.
It's a reflection of you. It's a reflection of you. Please. So anyways, listen, I've had enough, okay? All I'm saying is I didn't hear any of you denounce the letter that we received. You all wrote it, and it was full of vitriol and anger. I'll totally agree. And, are we going to wait for another tragedy, before we denounce it? And this is not, we have done nothing violent or said anything that was untruthful. And we don't advocate for people to go and protest. If people are protesting, if people are throwing things or doing things, people have cameras. They need to take pictures and present the evidence, and those people will be held accountable. We do not support that kind of behavior. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
There you go. So some people did clap for you. And by the way, look, I just noticed the Board of Selectmen throughout this whole meeting. They just looked happy to be there, like for the first time. They're like, yes, our people are here. The people who are going to protect us, they're here and make sure that nothing happens to us. And I'll tell you one thing. It's like this town is a town that voted 30 points higher for Joe Biden. Okay. It is a town where Democrats should have a huge advantage. But somehow Chris Albert, who is a MAGA guy, who's voted for the same people I did, somehow gets elected over a Yale educated liberal woman. How the hell does that happen in your town?
So here's what I know, and this is what I've learned since. People had information on Chris Albert. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you, let me tell you how the whole thing got started from what I understand. Somebody was out there holding signs for Lisa Lopez, and she was running, and somebody went by in a pickup truck. A couple of guys went by in a pickup truck and started yelling profanities out the window with the finger. That's what this population does. That's what they do. That's the only way they know how to speak. And so rather than just driving by and, oh, that's not my candidate, no, they have to let themselves be known. So that person went home and said, you know, what candidate could that have been? And it came down to Chris Albert, and did research and found out that Chris Albert had all these liens, hadn't paid his taxes, hadn't paid bills, really had a bad record. And then people tried to, the newspaper, yeah, that's what they're saying, that people tried to submit information to the Canton Citizen to get them to publish it, and the Canton Citizen wasn't publishing it. And so then after he got elected, and people were putting stuff on Facebook, and then he had his lawyer, I think it's Glenn Hennington. Yeah. He had his lawyer send letters to over 12 people threatening them to stop putting stuff on Facebook. And the only thing that they said that was untrue, or which couldn't be proven, was that they were calling Chris Albert a felon because Chris Albert was in the hit and run accident in 1994. And his car pushed a 23-year-old Australian or
Hungarian
student into one of those concrete medians. And then he just kept going. And 30 hours later, after a massive and very expensive state police search, he turns himself in. So Auntie Bev's father is the lawyer that defended Chris Albert in that case. And so Chris Albert got off on, I think, 6 months. I don't know time. Yeah, whatever. And so that record, people have tried to get that record from the Attleboro courts, and it's missing. And
why would it be in the Attleboro courts? It's Bristol. Isn't that Bristol County?
No, I believe it happened.
That's Bristol. That's where it happened. The incident happened.
That's where the 1994 car accident happened.
Oh, right. Okay.
Where the fatality, where he killed somebody. Yeah. And so the record has not been expunged. It's not sealed.
I wonder if it's in where's
it's
is that Fall River? No, would that be in Fall River Superior Court? Have you checked those? Because the Superior Court in Bristol is in Fall River. Okay.
It's Attleboro.
All right, gotcha. All right.
People put in a records request. People put in multiple records requests, and it is nowhere to be found. And I don't even think it's in the system. So Glenn Hennington was able to come back and say he's not a felon. Well, of course you could say he's not a felon because there's no records to prove one way or the other what he is. And so he used that to scare people. Now, it's my understanding that letter went to over a dozen people. One person who got it, and it was served by a constable. A constable went to the person's house. It was probably that rude Jim Ferris guy. I don't know. And so a constable delivered it. One person was on there. There was a death in the family, and they were on their way to the funeral parlor. And they're getting handed this letter. And many of these people were afraid they were going to lose their college funding. They were going to lose their home. And so they went into seclusion. They stopped talking because they were terrified. And, this is what they do. They sent out letters scaring people. So the Citizen wouldn't publish it. And then when all this stuff started coming out, then they getting a little more, on the other side. So...
well, that's it's unfortunate, but I'll tell you one thing. God bless you for doing what you're doing. How do you feel about Monday? What do you think your chances are? Do you have
you know what? We're going to pack the house. We're going to make sure that the warrant is written in a way that gets it approved. We do need an audit. It's just good business practice. And, hey, let's start with Canton, right? Let's start with Canton and let's sweep it across the country. Let's audit our police. Let's audit our government. Let's bring them up to the standards that businesses run by so that we have the best of the best. And, people aren't doing their job, well, then time to go.
Yep, absolutely.
And vote yes. Vote yes.
So let's get everyone out there. Let's get everyone in Canton. God, guys, we need, like, this is a concerted effort. There's just a lot of apathy. I know I ran for school committee in my town. I had people that had yard signs for me. I thought I was going to win so easily because I'm like, well, I'm the turtle. I go down, I'm doing standouts. Everybody's honking for me. I'm like, oh, I'm going to win this, no problem. I was sure I was going to win. I didn't win. I got 5th out of 6, top 3 win. And it was like, the local Democratic town committee backed, a group of 3, and Holden's the same as Canton. It's a town that voted by like 25% for Biden. So I had no shot. But I didn't realize that going in. I was so confident I was going to win because I had the most yard signs and I had the most online, presence. But on election day, they get out the vote, and they make sure their people get out there. They did robocalls. They organized. Whereas with me, I just assumed my people were going to show up. I had so many people with yard signs for me who I went afterwards and I checked the voting records and they didn't even vote. I'm like, you didn't vote? They didn't vote. Like, you'd be surprised how many people just will not show up unless you get their ass down there. So that's what we need everyone in Canton to do. Get your mother down there, your sister, your brother, get them down there. Turn it into a family thing. Drag their asses down there, bring them down there, hook them up, make it an event, make it fun, get food, something before, like, have a good time doing it. Everybody if you live in Canton or if you know anyone in Canton, get them to Canton High School between 5 and 7 o'clock on Monday for the town meeting. And we need institutional change because they're going to show up. They have organization. They are going to show up. So we need carpools. We need people that are getting out there, like, give them rides, like, ask, like, make, like, Joe Biden got 81 million votes because not because people were enthused for him, but because the organizational structure to get out the vote was so effective. That's what we need people to do. Get people out there, use those same tactics, get people out there on Monday. So that's what we need from people. Let's go.
Absolutely. And you just said it. Even if they don't live in Canton, if they know somebody in Canton, get them out there. If they want to help, send an email to that Canton, Canton Special Town Meeting at gmail.com, and we'll have stuff for you. I wanted to tell you one other thing about Tom Cunningham, though. So at the end, this is all about bullies. So, and Tom showed that he was a really good bully. So, not a really good bully, but he was a bully. And so at the end, when they were trying to get anybody else want to speak, I got to tell, there's 2 things I got to tell you. So Paul McAlbert was behind me. He's the bubblegum killer.
Oh, we know Paul.
Yeah. So he had a piece of paper in his hand. He was supposed to read. And Karen, because I was standing there. So they were saying, anybody else want to speak? So Karen goes up to, and I don't know Karen, I never met her before. She goes up to Paul and she goes, Paul, go up there and read. Go up there and read. And Paul goes, no, I'm not going to read. Now, I like to say that Paul thought it was not a good thing to do to go read, Maybe he was chicken. I don't know. But he said he wasn't going to read.
He had the gum in his mouth. He was a little
busy. The gum in his mouth. So Karen goes, then I'm going to do it. And that's why she went up. And when Karen reads, she goes, I wasn't prepared, but yeah, I am. And then she's reading, and every time she's reading, she's looking back at me like I'm intimidated. And, it's like, like I say, homie, don't play that game. And so then at the end, when they said anybody else want to speak, Tom Cunningham turns around and looks at me and he goes, go ahead. He goes, go speak. And I go, no, I already spoke. I go, you go speak. I'm sure you have plenty to say. And he goes, no, you go speak. I go, no, you go speak. Oh, and then there was another thing too. So, because what I'm saying is, guys, stand up to these bullies.
Stand up absolutely.
They just stand up to them, really. They're really. And then at the end, Karen Kelly comes up. Now, we heard they're doing a big smear campaign. They already had created a website for me and, have a party. I don't care, And so Karen comes up to me and she shows me a Facebook post and she says, look what you wrote about Turtle Boy. And so as soon as she said, look what you wrote about Turtle Boy, I'm thinking, okay, here comes the smear campaign, you know, and it said something about TB and stick this to the glass. So I didn't even read it. And I go, I didn't write that. You wrote that. And she goes, no, you wrote that. And I go, no, I didn't write that. You wrote that. And she goes, you know, you're not supposed to point your finger like that. And so I go, and she ran away.
Oh, geez. She's a real peach. She doesn't like to pay her bills either, I guess. But yeah, no, it's a theme with these people. It's a theme. I don't know if you've noticed that. But anyway, just wanted to thank you again for coming on, Rita. It was a real treat.
It was great.
Always
Thank
is.
you. And thank you for all you do, Aiden. Really, you've inspired a movement, and you will be victorious. And
well, thank you.
Yeah, no, you really will be. And you know, you've got all us behind you, and everybody else out there. Keep talking about this. Keep talking about it. Get involved. Get involved with who's in your community. This is important stuff, and this is a turning point in our country. And if everybody gets on board, we can really make this country a beautiful place.
God bless you. God
anyways,
bless.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Rita.
Okay.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Love it, man. I love it. So hopefully this mobilizes people. Again, it's not just about you. If you're watching this and you're planning on showing up to the town meeting on Monday and voting yes, that's not good enough. We need you to get other people. Every vote, get your apathetic uncle, get your cousin who hasn't been paying attention to any of this. His vote, that's the beauty of democracy. Voting, the votes of the uninformed are just as valid as the informed. And that's a strength and weakness of democracy, I suppose. Get everyone out. Elections are about counting. They're about numbers. Get everyone out, as many people as you can. Do not assume they will be there. Make sure they will be there. There should be a call tree on Wednesday. Get there at 5:00. You'll be able to tell real quick what the numbers are like. Get people out. Call them. Don't assume they're on social media seeing this shit. Get their asses down there. That's how you win elections. That's how you get institutional change. And so that's why I had this special stream for Special Town Meeting. Let me read a couple turtle chats to end this here. Let's read some comments here. And anyone else who wants their comment read, you can click at the link at the top for turtle chat. Donate whatever amount of money you want. You get to write a message. I will read your message out loud to the class here. Cynthia sends $25 and says, keep up the good work. Will do, Cynthia. I appreciate that. Kelly sends $25 and says, what is the picture video evidence that Proctor planted the taillight? We want more, please. We love you. Okay, I'll give you guys that. So it's not necessarily even that Proctor planted it. It is evidence that it was planted, period. Now, think about it. They found 35 pieces of taillight, right? Like, think of what a tail light looks like on the back of that light. It's not that big. So if you were to take 35 pieces of that and split it apart, it would take up virtually the whole thing, correct? And then look at the video at 5:00 of Karen Reed's taillight. Look at that video and just take a visual of that video. Just remember that picture of that taillight at 5:00, or look at the picture of Karen's taillight at 4:12 p.m. in Dighton and take a visual picture of that and remember what that looks like in your head. And just remember that they have entered 35 pieces of taillight into evidence that they allegedly found at that scene over the course of 5 undocumented trips to 34 Fairview that were not recorded. We don't know what inspired Michael Proctor to come down there to look for those pieces of taillight. We don't know if he even found them there. He might have just entered them into evidence for all we know. It doesn't even require planting, does it? When you actually think about it, because we don't even know that he actually went there, right? And we don't know, maybe Brian Albert put it there. We don't know. It doesn't matter who planted it there. The bottom line is, it was just look at the picture of Karen Reed's taillight at 5:00 as she left One Meadows Ave after she backed into John's car. Look at the picture of Karen Reed's taillight at 4:12 p.m. And also remember, there are other videos of Karen. The Canton Library tape worked at other times. Let's put it that way. It worked at other times. And because Karen, remember, she went to the when she went out at 5, whatever, with Jen and Karen, like video cameras picked her up there. And remember what her taillight looked like. And then remember, like, don't forget that, because we haven't seen what's been entered into evidence. We haven't seen the exact pictures of what the taillight looks like, right? But we know that the taillight is all gone, don't we? So just remember that. If any pieces of, memorize her taillight. That's the clue I'm giving you right now. Memorize Karen Reed's taillight, exactly what it looked like. Memorize what pieces of red were showing at 5:00 a.m. Memorize that in your head. And don't forget about it when it comes to trial. And don't forget about when you actually see what is entered into evidence by the Commonwealth of taillight that they found there. If there is a single piece, if there is one piece of red taillight, just one, entered into evidence that is on Karen Reed's car, that is clearly on Karen Reed's car at 5:00, then it means it was planted. That's what it means. Because if it's on her car, we can all agree on this. If it's on Karen Reed's car at 5 a.m., then it could not have been on the lawn at 12:30 a.m. It could not have been there. So if any of those pieces are entered into evidence that appear on her car, just know that is beyond proof that it was planted. So it doesn't even matter who planted it. It doesn't matter if it was Michael Proctor or Brian Tully or Brian Albert, or if no one planted it, if they just entered it into evidence and they said, oh, we found this here, because they didn't document any of it anyway. They didn't take any pictures. They didn't take any pictures of where it was found. He never entered it into evidence. He never documented any of his trips. So it doesn't matter if Michael Proctor did it, quite frankly. We all assume Michael Proctor did it. I assume Michael Proctor did it. But it doesn't matter who did it. Karen Reed didn't do it. It was not there, which means someone did it. And it's not our job to find out who did it. It's not our job to solve the mystery of who killed John O'Keefe. It's their job. And it's the federal government's job now. And they have not gone anywhere. This whole thing about, that's all a lie. Just know that I know shit you don't know. For all the people who doubt me, how did I know that Allie McCabe testified in front of the grand jury before everyone else did? How did I know that she was down there in Moakley Courthouse? How did I know the exact date that Colin Albert was down there? How did I know that? How did I know that Caitlin Albert and Brian Albert Jr. were down there? How did I know that Jen McCabe was with her daughter in the courthouse when they went down there? How did I know the names Adam Deitch and Joshua Levy? How did I know all of this stuff, guys? How did I know all this? It's almost like I have sources. It's almost like I have people on the ground reporting back to me about what they're seeing in real life. So just know that when I say that the federal grand jury is not even close to being over, it is not even close to being over. They are gaslighting you. I am telling you as a 100% matter of fact that they're nowhere close to done, and they are giving them the rope to hang themselves, and they're doing it appropriately. The taillight. They have entered 35 pieces of taillight into evidence. The feds are allowing them to do that. They are allowing them to enter because they can use that against them. They want to see what else they're going to come up with now. They want to see what other bullshit lies. They're just like, keep going, motherfucker. Why would the feds stop now? They're like, oh, these motherfuckers want to keep playing, huh? They want to keep playing. They're going to let them hang. And my prediction, people ask my predictions. I don't know this is a fact. I don't know what they're going to do because the feds work in silence. My prediction is they are going to wait 1 week before Karen Reed's trial to indict. That is my prediction. Because I'm like, why would they stop now? Like, why would they stop now? Why would they they're like, oh, let's see what else these fucking idiots do. These people are obviously stupid and arrogant and think they can get away with anything and think that they're protected. Let them think that. Maybe I shouldn't have even said anything. Maybe I ruined it, but probably not. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Just understand that my arrogance, if you will, and my cockiness comes from is on purpose. It is intentional. It is by design. It is not from a lack of ignorance or anything like that. I know shit that they don't know. I'm always going to know shit they don't know. And I am not the least bit worried about me. And I am not the least bit worried about Karen Reed. I at times I'm like, when you think about the gravity of it all, like, oh shit, these motherfuckers, like with the whole corrupt thing, like that sucked. That sucked. Even though we got, I was allowed to go to the Karen Reed hearings, just seeing that guy, like clearly not wanting to watch any of the videos. I'm like, that sucked. But you know what? We have the truth on our side and we have the feds on our side. And the feds have not gone anywhere. So again, trust me or don't trust me. I was right about Lucky Loughran, right? I was right about that. I've been right about a lot of shit. I was right about Steve Scanlon, right? I've been right about a lot of shit. So trust me or don't trust me. And yeah, a lot of people keep talking about this 911 tape. Again, I guess the Commonwealth is leaking shit now, because I think we can all assume that channels that are social media accounts that are associated with the Commonwealth, if they're broadcasting, I'm told they're broadcasting 911. I haven't written about it because I haven't been able to confirm whatever, but like I'm told that these Commonwealth friendly accounts are playing evidence now. And now I think they've taken it down. That's what people are saying. Again, I don't know anything about it in the 911 tape, but I guess it was taken down, which makes you wonder, why would they do that? Why would they, if that tape was somehow helpful to Jennifer McCabe and bad for Karen Reed, wouldn't they want to exploit the shit out of that? Wouldn't they want to keep that up? Why would they hide that? For apparently that people said it was up for weeks on an unlisted, so people couldn't watch it. Well, that's weird. Why don't they want you watching it? That's weird. For people who are so confident that they're innocent and Karen's guilty, I mean, wouldn't that show more than anything? Pretty interesting. So I don't know, but I don't know anything about that. And it is weird how the Commonwealth, who's not allowed to leak anything, they seem to be a little bit leaky. Okay. Other questions here. Turtle chats. Let me read. I always think there, but go for the grace of God. Janine donates $25. Janine donates $25 and says, I always think there, but go the grace of God, go I. This totally could be any one of us or someone we love. That is a big thing here. Like, I love Karen Reed, but fuck Karen Reed all aside. Like, this is not just about Karen Reed. This is about an institution doing this, and that none of us are safe. Absolutely. If they are allowed to get away with doing something like this. Absolutely, Janine. Thank you very much. Greg sends $10, says the fact that John Connolly and Mike Loughran have vote no signs on their lawns, do they really confirm what corrupt pieces of shit they are? TikTok Jen, this turtle chat says, hashtag free Karen Reed, hashtag free journalism Jesus, hashtag justice for John O'Keefe. Yeah, I mean, Mike Loughran, he's another, I mean, Jesus Christ. And Mike Loughran, have you not seen what these people have done to your brother? The fear and intimidation that they caused. He was scared. Let me tell you, Mike, your brother was scared shitless when I talked to him afterwards. When I told the world about our conversation, they scared the fuck out of your brother. So maybe you should, not be such a shitty brother. Maybe you should support him and not allow the people who are doing this to your brother instead of being a cowardly asshole. Maybe you could do that, Mike. So there's that. Ann sends $25, says, guess what? I love your show. Thank you very much. Ann. I appreciate that. Detective sends $25, says, just love you guys. Stay vigilant. My hope is total freedom for the two who are truly innocent and the good citizens of Canton by Christmas. Wouldn't that be something? I wouldn't count it by Christmas. I think we'll still have this hanging over our heads by Christmas. But I have an upcoming hearing on December 5th. Hope it might be in Stoughton. It might be in Dedham, depending on if things change. We'll see with that. But I will have a hearing on December 5th in Dedham. So we will see. And Karen's next hearing is on January 5th. Let me check other turtle chats here. A couple more to read. Mary sends $25, says, is it legal to put a letter without postage in someone's mailbox? I don't know the answer to that, Mary, but maybe commenters can answer that one for you. Thank you. A sends $5, says, people have been encouraging Karen to stop fighting and taking a plea. Who is people? Who the fuck? I've heard that from exactly no one. No serious person is encouraging Karen to do that. Is the defendant a witness? Could the state press charges against these people smearing her to make her tap out and change her testimony? I suppose they would have to protest her, right, in order to do that. Yes, but a defendant is a witness. That's correct. She would be so I guess she's exempt from the witness intimidation statute. But again, who's going to charge him? It's the state police who are doing the charging. You think they're going to charge someone for intimidating Karen Reed? Please stop it. And by the way, like, what about, wasn't that witness intimidation what occurred outside of C.F. McCarthy's with the Galvins and Jim Ferris to Alan Jackson? Is that not witness intimidation? Maybe they should file charges. And absolutely, Tina, you can come to the hearings. I would love that. You know, I really appreciate having the support of Turtle Riders there. That means a lot. And I think, you know, it's like we have regular people on our side. Just like when I'm out at that thing last night, that Serenity and helped organize the comedy show, and just meeting the great people out last night, just regular people, regular, nice, law-abiding people, respectable members of society who just like, that's who has my back out there. Not, you know, a couple ratchets with the pajama pants, but hopefully I don't think she's coming anymore. Okay. Got rid of her, but everybody else who shows up with, you know, normal clothes on and doesn't rip butts outside of court and looks respectful and doesn't try to make it about them. I love you people. I love you people. So thank you very much. But that's a good question. Erica sends $25 and says, free cold ass pizza, but really hot chocolate will be available while it lasts. It will be offered in the orange area where all the ralliers are supposed to be. Well, thank you, Erica. This is going to be freaking awesome. I hope some people are covering that on Monday. Any more cash apps here? Let me read. Do we have any cash apps? Damien sends $5 and says, watch the new doc, The Fall of Minneapolis. I listened to Megyn Kelly's podcast. I'm a Megyn Kelly stan. I love Megyn Kelly. Her podcast like my favorite. And I was listening to hers the other day. She had the people who put this documentary on the other day. And I'll be honest, I'll tell you one thing, another thing. I started filming for the doc. The documentary is actually, I'm not saying who the production company is. I'm not going to give anything like that, but it has begun. It has it is in the works now. There will be a documentary on this. And it's going to be, wait till you see the doc. It's going to be awesome. So thank you very much, Damien. I appreciate that. And $50 here from Paula on the Cash App. She says, thank you for what you're doing from Phoenix, Arizona. Love to see that. Very cool. Very cool. Okay. Anyone else wants to donate? You can click on the link for Turtle Chat. But I'll take any other commenters right now. Anyone else have any comments? No, it's not the 5-time anywhere. No, thanks, Natalie. By the way, Natalie is sending out screenshots of my conversation still, like leaking shit like it matters. And they're honestly making us look better. Like they put out one where, so it's me talking to Natalie, but I didn't realize at the time she's kind of speaking on behalf of the Karen Reed legal defense team. When I was having these conversations with her, she was just the mediator. I really thought at the time that Natalie actually knew this case inside and out. Natalie was just a courier. Like that's all she was. I found out later. And like, I just posted one on Twitter that they shared as some sort of gotcha. And it's like, I say, I still don't understand how she, Karen, knows all of this about who attacked John. So it's like me being like skeptical about it. I'm like, oh, that's good. Actually, I'd like to know more about that. Like, do you have any evidence of that? I don't blindly accept everything. And it says that Natalie says, We were told by a law enforcement agent that he's actually in a Turtle Boy post. That was Scanlon that they're talking about there. And it was confirmed by the plow driver, Natalie tells me. Oh, so they were telling me about this is before I had ever interviewed Lucky Loughran. So it's like all this shit. It just kind of confirms, from the beginning that I was skeptical of this, and these people proved me. And that Alex Area account, whatever, it's like I don't usually spend my time trying to figure out who trolls are. That is quite clearly one of two people. Most likely it's Carl Dougal, but there's also a chance it's Paul O'Keefe. It is 100% one of those two, 100%. But it doesn't really matter who they are. They're cucks either way. Paul O'Keefe has a nice new addition on his house in West Bridgewater, though. I'll tell you that much. Paul O'Keefe has done very well for himself as a result of his brother's death. Very well for himself. He got that GoFundMe, a few $100,000 in that. He's the beneficiary. He is not the guardian of the children, but he was the beneficiary of that GoFundMe, which is great for Paul O'Keefe. He did very well for himself financially as a result of his brother's death. So there's that. Other questions. Live show Tuesday. We'll see. No, the voicemail. No, not leaked to Victoria. Victoria posted what the other side posted. Yeah, she's a mule. What time December 5th? I would assume 9, but I'll get back to you on that one. Please watch the select board meeting from Friday. The select board members discuss their status on the motions. Yes, check that out. Tim is filing. Our next motion that we're filing is a motion to get my phones back because they have no right to those. So we need to get those back. The devices, it is unprecedented that they would need to hold on to those. Any word on Higgins? Higgins is living in the Cape, has no contact whatsoever with them. They've been suspicious of him for months. I think it's pretty obvious that Higgins took a deal. And there's guys, look at the totality of what they have. They got Geofence, they got Allie McCabe, they got all these people down there, they got Higgins. They know everything. All they're doing right now is letting the district attorney's office hang themselves. Yes, that is exactly what I'm saying. It's just an undeniable fact that Paul has done very well for himself. They just put a very nice addition on their house in West Bridgewater without any extra loans taken out or anything. So it's nice. It's nice, All right. Can we have Rita on every day? She's very charming, isn't she, guys? She really is. Okay. So I'll be more in touch about everything else later, but Chris Albert spoke. If that would not entice people to watch, yes. Oh, I got to hear that. He actually spoke. Oh, now I have to watch it. Holy cow! Wow. Turtle Boy, let out of Canton folks know that if they park at the high school, they will jeopardize the voter turn. Okay, cool. So, park close by if you can. We want as many people to show up as possible, baby. Anyone streaming? The town of Canton, it definitely is. It's on their website, Canton Television, one of the top media outlets. I like Canton Media. I love Canton Television, and I like the Canton Citizen. I know they didn't publicize anything about Chris Albert prior to the election, and a lot of people have been critical of that, but I think their coverage of this thing has been good. They really grilled Helena Rafferty and exposed her for being the opposite of what she claims to be, which is transparent. Whatever the opposite of transparent is, she is fully that, and she made it clear. Can we trust the votes to be counted? How this works is it's very obvious who will be in the majority in the room. Like I've been to town meetings in Holden before, where it's like they don't have to count the votes. It's just very obvious who's got the majority. If it's really close, then I'm sure they'll have a system for that. But all right, guys. So I got one more Cash App to read here. I think we got one more Cash App. Let me read this from Recovering Cantonite. Sends $10 and says, Cindy Daniels used to work for the Canton Citizen. How about that? That's Colin's grandmother. And Jessica sends $20 and says, the Canton 9 has your back. She was one of the Canton 9. It's great to see her out there. Love you people. We're going to win this, man. Yeah, I'd love to go on the Canton. I'd love to go back on Grace's program. But you know, whenever they want to invite me, I'll go on. All right, guys. So we're going to call it a night. Great to see you guys back here again. Hopefully we'll do this again sometime soon. Got to stay out of jail. These people are trying to lock me up, you know, but I'm in a funny position. My job, they're telling me not to talk, but my job is to talk. So got to keep talking, you know, but got to keep making, I haven't broken any laws to begin with. So just got to keep doing what I'm doing. And shout out to all the Rumble Rats too over there, please. I didn't really give you guys much attention, but I love you. We still got 200 people over watching on Rumble. Great to see you guys. And we will talk to you guys soon. And we'll be talking. I'm sure I'll have a reaction to the town meeting on Monday, but God bless you guys. Have a great rest of the weekend. And we'll see you guys all on Tuesday, probably. Peace.